From the Hill Country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com.
Well, good morning. A very pleasant good morning to you. This is OneRadioNetwork.com. It is the 7th of August, a Monday morning, and the first Monday of the month brings us to Adam Bergstrom time. You'll meet Adam in just a second. He's in the green room in Californication, which is, luckily he's even green there, Crazy mazy out there in California. Well, if you'd like to join the show, please do that. Patrick at OneRadioNetwork.com is the email address and the telephone number, 888-663-6386. We are going to join you tomorrow one-on-one, and we're going to go into some spiritual things that you better bring your duct tape for your head or your heart, because they'll explode. That'll be tomorrow at 10. Mike Stone is here on Wednesday talking about his understanding of the energetics and the voltage and the battery is what keeps us going, and not some silly germs floating around in the air, as advertised. And also, I believe Tom Luongo is on this week too. We haven't heard back to confirm, but he's a fun guy. So here we are, and you're there. Hope you had a nice weekend. It's been amazing, like 104, 105, 106. After you get to 100, it doesn't even matter. It just doesn't even matter. But we go out in the morning, take a walk, and then wait till 5 or 6, and, it's all right. It's Texas. What are you going to do, And I kind of think that the weather mavens are kind of stepping on the gas just to drive home the fact that it's global boiling. Actually heard the WHO guy said it's no longer global warming, it's global boiling. So they're running with this narrative of global boiling. Out in California, it doesn't boil much. It doesn't even rain in Southern California. And Adam Bergstrom, good morning.
Good morning, Patrick.
How you?
Except we did the elemental song and made it rain all year, and the drought is over here officially in California now.
Well, can you do the elemental song like long distance? Because we could use a little rain here in Texas.
Never tried it, but maybe.
I think you should try. It'd be a nice thing to try.
And, could be just magical thinking or an accident, but it is weird that when we did it, it was totally dry, and they were predicting disaster, and immediately after we did it, the next day we had a slight shower, and then 2 days later it started pouring and didn't stop till last month, I guess. Now it's over, but it's weird that it ended as soon as they officially announced, okay, it's over, there's no more drought, and then immediately we get sunny weather like normal. So it was pretty peculiar.
Well, stranger things have happened, right? Stranger things have happened.
I've seen the elemental song work before. It's actually probably about 20 times I've used it in emergencies. And also there's so many tales of the Wizard of Auckland and later the Wizard of New Zealand. He did a rain dance in Auckland, and they kind of laughed at him, but it started pouring. They had floods. So, it's happened before. Jung talked about it. It happened. Rain followed Donald Lay around, Swami Nitty Gritty. He only would initiate if you asked for initiation. It had to rain, sometimes immediately after, or he wouldn't initiate.
He wouldn't do it. Yeah. Well, brother, it's all connected, and there are elementals, right? There are fairies, there are mermaids. I don't care what you say. There are whatever. They're out there. They're, I don't know what they are exactly, but they exist, and they help souls, and that's what they do, and that's their job, right? And so, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
We are connected. I've told you that story several times about. A screaming child was brought to Donald Lay at one time, and he wouldn't stop screaming. So they were going to take him to the hospital. Instead, they said, let's try his clinic first. So they went in. The kid is screaming and screaming. They took his shoes off, and Donald went to work on his feet. And he started kicking Donald, that windmill type kicking. And so he looked annoyed, and he asked both parents to come over. He massaged their left shoulders And immediately the child went to sleep. Within 1 minute, less than 1 minute, he was completely snoring. O'Donnell picked him up, adjusted his neck, a whole bunch of vertebrae went on one side. The kid is still asleep. He did it on the other side. Then the kid woke up and he kind of looked ahead with that 10,000-yard look in a 10-foot room, you know. And then he asked the father, what did you do to upset him this morning? And he said, well, I told him I'd take him to the store and I didn't. Next time you do that, touch him and this won't happen.
Oh, touch him while you're saying
just
that.
touch him while you tell him. Because so anytime you say this is adult talk, make sure that the kid comes forward and you touch him when you tell him that. And then you're not going to have a shock left over. That blew my mind when I saw that. And I've seen it happen at least a dozen times since then.
Oh, yeah.
Direct connections between particularly mothers and children, but in that case it was the father.
You may have heard me talk about, I don't know how you stay pretty busy with your work, but Doodle had this huge kind of sore on her left paw. I mean, it was like bleeding, and she would lick it and I would wrap it with gauze and put aloe on it, and she'd take the gauze off and lick the aloe off, and it was just one of those things for weeks, and it wouldn't heal. It just wouldn't heal. And then I got it one morning when I woke up, was that the left side is the male side. I'm her dad. Patrick's having his challenges going forward in life, right? Going forward in life with the show and raising the money and, the whole thing. We got hacked and. And so I said, well, Dr. Massey talked a lot about how the idea that children often will try to take on the parents' stuff because they're trying to heal them. And so I just sat Doodle down, and I actually touched her too. That was brought up. I put my hand on her, and I said, Doodle, you don't have to help me. I'm going to do fine. People are donating money. We're going to be fine. You don't have to help me move forward. You just let that go. That's my responsibility. I love you, and you don't have to do that. And Adam Bergstrom, ladies and gentlemen, the next day it started healing. Today, this moment, there's nothing there except bare skin, and it's all dried. Now, you can't make that up. You just can't. You just can't.
I've seen that kind of thing happen. That's an amazing story, Patrick.
Isn't it great? Isn't it wonderful? God is so cool. When you think about it, with all the weird things going on this earth plane, and it's bonkers, but if we can remember that connection to Spirit and God, and like you guys do, and we all do, and our listeners do, we'll get through whatever bonkerness is going on, won't we? We'll get through it.
Animals particularly do that too. They take on they have love, so they do that. And there was a book in there was a veterinary book I checked out at one time because my co-author of Yes, No, Maybe, she had dogs and things, so I was interested. But there was a chapter in it where the vet said, and he was a famous vet, he had an introduction by Andrew Weil at the beginning of the book. And he said, you're going to think this is crazy, but I'm going to tell you something about animals taking on the exact diseases of their owners. And he had a whole chapter with list after list. Every paragraph had an example of it.
Yeah.
So it really does happen.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've never really said much to people, because I make that connection, but out of compassion, most people will start to, think that you're blaming them or that's my fault, and you know what I mean? But it happens because these little critters are just tied into us, aren't they? It's unconditional love. They feel everything, and they feel everything, I think it happens in families too, Adam. I think it happens in families where the kids will take on mom stuff, and even with this COVID thing, people got sick, and and they thought they caught stuff from anybody, but they all decided to get sick together, just to support one another. I think that goes on.
It happens both ways, and it happens in non-family situations too. I've got a hernia on my left side when a very dear friend of mine went on cosmic vacation from a hernia.
Really?
and I got it within 1 week after his death. It affected me deeply, and more deeply than I thought, because when I found out he died, I started sobbing. And I hadn't cried for a while. And so I thought, wow, that's really affected me deeper than I thought. Next thing, I wake up with a hernia on the left side of my body.
Wow.
Still got it.
That's interesting. So he left his body from some kind of problem with a hernia. Usually they don't kill you, right? These hernias. And then, but you would think that the sobbing was, of course, perfect, and you kind of let it go. Why you would have to do the hernia thing? But any theories on that?
I should have done some more sobbing, I guess. Yeah, it takes also
A lot.
A friend of mine puts it, drama does not cure trauma. You also have to resolve it, because when you do drama, it's like making something wrong. And once you make something wrong, you're stuck with it. You have to kind of let it go and say, that's what that person did. It's kind of like blaming an animal for biting you. You know, that's what an animal does. If like a lion, if a lion attacks you, it's just hungry. It's doesn't have any personal vendetta against you.
So
but we don't treat people that way.
So you're saying that, I think I hear you. Well, all we need to bring it up and recognize it, but we don't need to get traumatized again about it, right?
Yeah. One of the things on Mind Hacking for the Millions is that people tend to keep memories of people. Like, you don't find many traumas about my dad got eaten by a lion, and so I hate lions. It does happen, but not as much as a person will hate their ex-wife for 50 years. I've seen cases of 50, 60 years of hating their ex-wife for just dumping them, you know, and it's something some people do. People get dumped, and yet people get traumatized for years and years. And then there's death imprints and bosses that people hate, and this goes on. Yet if you fall down like a step, you don't go through life hating that step. I'm going to get even with all steps in the world. I'm raising a campaign. I mean, there are weird, rare cases that it happens, but it's extremely rare. It's always about a who. A man or a woman, and that's the left or the right side.
Yeah. And it's so funny because Adam Bergstrom, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is one of the few people that knows that the left is the male and the right is the female. Unlike most cultures, not cultures, but I think in this country, I don't know how it is around the world, you may know, Adam, but they think the right is the male. And I think that's a religious thing. I think it came from like Christ and sitting at the right hand of God, and that. I think it's a male fantasy thing or something.
It is patriarchal, because the left is basically sinister. If you're a left-handed, you're sinistromanual. That's a word based on sinister. Sinister-handed, while right-handed, dexter-handed, you're right, meaning right like righteous.
Righteous.
So it does come from there. And the truth is that actually it is that way in the back of the body for the motor movements, but in the front it reverses, because we have polarity front, back, and up and down. And so you do get reversed. If you have an injury in the back on the left side, it is a female trauma. But in the front, it's a male. And with mind hacking, it's a motor movement you're reading, so you're reading the back of the body to get the correct answer, and it's the only way I've found 100% accuracy. Any other kind of way, you don't know if it's really switched, if two people are involved, and if you go to an ankle or wrist, try to figure out, is this male, or I have an injury right here, is that male or is that female, you know, on the corner of the wrist, and you don't know. Before I learned mind hacking, or invented it, actually, I guess, or discovered it, like
downloaded
Newton
it or
getting
whatever.
hit with the apple on the head.
Right.
I had to guess at wrists and at ankles, because you never knew for sure if it was the front or the back of the body.
Adam is speaking of a work that he has on solartiming.com. It's called Mind Hacking for the Millions. He was kind enough to send me a PDF, which I haven't read yet. It's a long one. It's pretty big, right?
I got carried away because I realized it's hard to explain this, and so I wanted to make it as simply as possible. And over time, I added, I believe, 51 appendixes of examples and ways of dealing with it. So the basic movement, the cornerstone technique, I call it, is simple. You just move the ankles and you feel gross motor movements that anybody can feel. It's not dowsing or anything like that. It's like if I shake my hand here, you're going to feel it in the foot. Mm-hmm. Same type of movement, but only the mind does it. The mind will move the feet. You're not shaking your hand to move it. And so it's really easy to do. And I discovered it accidentally myself. No one showed it to me. I had a tennis player buddy, and he mentioned a woman's name that he was traumatized over, and his right foot jumped. And so I asked him to repeat what he told me, what happened, and his right foot jumped again. And I remember thinking, could it be this easy?
Could it be
and
easy?
After that, my whole sessions changed totally. I just kept turning people's feet and asking them questions and finding out who was the matter with them.
And that was the genesis for the book. Folks, you can go to solartiming.com and you can find Mind Hacking for the Millions. It's an ebook. What is it? $20 or something? What is?
I think it's either, is it $19.99 or $29.99? Mind Hacking for the Millions. I think it's $29.
Oh,
$19.99 still. Yeah,
cheap at twice the price. Come on, baby.
Good value. It's very large, and it takes two to do because you need someone else. Mm-hmm. Now you can analyze by looking at people's injuries. Still, that still works. But to get really into the details and find out what's about to happen, because if you have a trauma, then your proprioception goes off, meaning you bump into walls, you fall downstairs, you do things of that nature where the left or the right side of your body is vulnerable. So with Mind Hacking for the Millions, you can catch it ahead of time. You don't have to say, oh, he broke his, a friend of mine, she broke her left leg. And she was a follower of Swami Satchidananda. And Swami Satchidananda obviously knows body language because he looked at me and said, I'm breaking the marriage. And my friend doesn't remember him saying that. And he was sitting beside her. I was taking a photograph of her husband and her, who later was not her husband. And he said, I'm breaking the marriage. And that's the kind of body language you get. We use synonyms and metaphors like a break in the marriage. So what do? You break your left leg.
Yeah. So if you had something out of balance in the right kidney, since that would be in the back, that would be a male thing?
It could be, but the kidney has a back and a front. So the only way you tell for sure is with the mind hacking, where you see what's going on, what part of the kidney it is. It's the only way I've found that it's 100%. I've never found an example, and I don't even believe in 100%. I was taught by my mentor 99%. It's a 99% world. There is no such thing as 100%. But so far, I haven't found an exception to the rule, and I've been doing this since the 70s, a long time. So by now you'd think I would have got an exception to the rule.
Well, the main title of your hardcover book, Yes, No, Maybe, is such a brilliant saying. Where did that come from? Because that's kind of like positive, negative, and neutral, or God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost, or which ones you want to use. The Buddhists, they have their own names, but it's all the same, right? Boom, boom, boom. In creation, what is it? Creation and dissolution, or whatever the word would be, and then also to keep it steady, right? Those are three. What are the proper words for those, Adam? Creation,
yin and yang is one, and positive and negative. They have all kinds of ways. Ravisi calls it quantum and electrophilic, electrostatic. So we have order and disorder, basically, is what it is, and we have the yin and yang comes from the light side of the mountain and the dark side of the mountain. So there's always light and dark, black and white, red and green. Everything has a polarity. And then the flow between them, that's the neutral. And then you have a ground. to complete things. And the ground is often called cosmic consciousness. It's the field that all of this works in, a pressurization field to make electricity work.
Yeah. Do you hear our show with Dave Stetzer about the electricity and the neutral? Fascinating, isn't it? Whoa.
He's a fascinating guy. Yeah,
He's
you
a
had
smart
another
guy.
guest that I really liked too, and I have been attempting to think of his name, but they were both really good guests, and electricity makes a difference.
Boy, and all these people that have gone into the grounding technology, they can prove that that's not a good idea in the United States because 80% of the electric companies run their neutral back under the ground because they don't want to build up a big enough neutral wire. Wow.
You know, I can guarantee that because I was a phone man back in the day. And when I moved to Redding, California, we moved in a place and didn't have cable. Well, I knew how to hook to ground. They had ground there to a live wire, and we had jazz radio from San Francisco way up in Redding.
Going through the ground.
For free, yeah. I just said, because I knew how to hook it up. And it was easy because of ground. If it wasn't for the ground being, going down to ground, I couldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm. He said Stetzer also did a whole lot of conversation about these LED bulbs, which you have talked about for years. Not good as far as the blue melatonin knocker outer at night, correct?
Well, the blue light, it's not as serious a problem as they make it out to be, but it is a problem because some people are affected by red light. 1 out of 10 people will have their circadian rhythm interrupted by red light. So we are basically changing in evolution where before we didn't stay awake at night and be on a computer all night. We had a campfire with yellow light. There's no blue light in a campfire. So we had lots of campfire, and General Electric actually invented the incandescent bulb to match the frequencies with as little blue as possible in a white light to match firelight because they knew that back then. Wow. Now people have no common sense. They're making the incandescent bulb completely illegal, countrywide. It's nuts. And
he talked very eloquently about these LED bulbs. It's more than just the light that they put on an energy onto the wires in the home, and you can prove it when we have the meters that when you put these LED bulbs in, the energy goes up. And Magda Havas in Canada has proved that it affects blood sugar, it affects insomnia, it affects a lot of stuff from just these bulbs. And the incandescent bulbs, Adam, as you know, and as GE knew, were the most quiet, peaceful, best lights you can even come up with. Yeah. And they just banned them.
General Electric put a lot of technology. They also knew there was a para-adrenal autonomic nervous system. Nobody seems to know about that today. You cannot find any references on the internet except for me. I read the books and got a hold of the original General Electric research where they found out definitely that our skin is the adrenal medulla. It's not just on those little pyramids above the kidneys and a little center of it. It's actually in the heart and all throughout the skin. Every cell that has tyrosine or phenylalanine it makes adrenaline, makes cholesterol, makes vitamin D.
In our skin.
It makes a lot of chemicals we don't even know about.
All in our skin? In our skin?
On our skin, any place.
Wow. And why was GE, General Electric, interested in that?
Because they were interested in light. And they were also interested in its health benefit. The scientists had so much hubris, they said, we're going to make light that outdoes the sun, that is healthier than the sun. But to their credit, after all was said and done, they said, we can't do it. We can't outdo the sun, but we can get close, but we can't outdo it.
So you're saying at the beginning, early 1900, I guess, or whenever this was, that GE actually had a good intention of trying to make the best light bulb they could.
They had good intentions back then. The Schenectady station, actually, my mentor, Donald Lay, worked at Schenectady station for RCA when RCA at one time has been on and off connected with GE. Swami Nitty Gritty put in the first microwave tower in Canada
Really?
for RCA.
Really?
So I know a lot about it personally, about how this worked, but it was my fate to find this documentation in a library, in an osteopathic library in Fort Worth, Texas, and I haven't found it anyplace else. So fortunately, I made a copy. I Xerox it, which is now misplaced someplace since the evacuation. We still haven't got all our stuff together, but I remember most of it. And weirdly, think of the fate of this. I was asked to do a workshop in Houston, Texas, when right after I discovered this book on the parasympathetic nervous system. I mean, about the paraadrenal nervous system. And of all places I was going to do the lecture was at a dermatology clinic.
Oh, in skin, yeah.
A well-known one in Katy, Texas. And so I'm able to tell them things like, if you take a transplant of a black man and put it on a white man's skin, what color does it? Does it stay black or does it turn white? And they didn't know the answers to this, but I did because I'd read the General Electric literature and I could tell them why. So it's unknown. It was almost rediscovered in 1951. Someone started to find it, but because there was nothing to anchor it on, people didn't know anything about it. They ignored these researchers. I also found that in the osteopathic library, which was a great resource for me.
So what can we mere mortals take from this research, this paraadrenal system, and use for our benefit in 2023? What do we learn from that? What can we do to utilize this
Get more sun.
Get more sun, okay.
And it's really important. It helps a person's health to see the sun come up, see the sun go down in their particular area. It helps your circadian rhythm, and also be out briefly between 11:30 and 12 o'clock in the midday, because the blue light is important for setting your rhythm. But you don't set your rhythm at night. You set it incorrectly. And that's the problem with all the blue light at night. We are going to have our rhythms disturbed. Yeah. One of the reasons solar nutrition is available is because you can set your rhythms from other ways besides light. Even heat can set it. Food can set it. Exercise can set it. Sex can set it. Yeah, the social week can set it. So there's other ways to do it. And the more of these ways that are in coordination, the better you have it. There's a part of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nuclei. Big name, but that's what connects you with light. There's a part called the ventromedial nuclei, and that's the part that connects food with the biological clock. And then there's the geniculate nuclei, which is the one that darkness and meditation actually clears you with. That connects you with the circadian rhythms. We are processes of time to find timelessness, because the timing gets rid of the illusion of time, or cow, as it's called.
It's interesting. The healthier you get, the clearer you get, the more in balance you get with foods at certain times and the sun, the more you realize there is no time. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool?
Then you get into the momentous moment. The moment. The part where we're here now, because everything that passed and at present is here with us now. But we forget that because we believe in time as an arrow. It's going one way and that's it. But there is time travel because there is no time.
There is no time.
We know this in Star Trek and the holodeck and all that, but then we think, oh, that's all fiction. But actually, it's really true. Once you get into the moment, then you see everything. This is all a game. It's nowhere. Now here. If you hyphenate it in the middle, now nowhere is now here.
Yeah, it's funny. And in Ekankar, it's termed soul travel, but there's also the addendum to that people that understand it say, well, we don't really travel because we're already there, and all we are is changing our viewpoint, right? We don't travel to the etheric plane. We already are on the etheric plane, and we just change our viewpoint and say, oh, here's my etheric body. I forgot I had that. Yeah.
If all is one, we have to be everywhere.
We got to be everywhere.
All we have to do is travel there by mind, and so we have a mind body that goes there. But really, it's true. We don't go anywhere.
We don't go anywhere.
we're here. There's no place to go.
I think Ram Dass said it best, be here now. Remember that book? Oh, God.
But try to tell it to a mainstream scientist.
Oh,
they
yeah.
just scratch their head, and they want to make up, quantum dimensions. There's 17 dimensions, and they're cubic, and some are rhombic, and blah, 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 and on with all this nonsense. I've read my share of that junk.
Adam, I saw this headline last week that this Voyager, right, I don't even think it exists, but they lost communication with it because it's 12 billion light years away. And, well, come on, really? Okay. Where is that? I don't believe any of it. I think it's all 12 billion light years. Give me a break.
A person who knew a lot about that type of thing was Arthur Young. He invented the Bell helicopter, and I got to meet him just before he went on his cosmic vacation. Took a workshop at his house in Berkeley. Actually, I think it was Oakland, right by the border of Berkeley.
What was he into?
He opened his house every weekend for all kinds of scientists who talked about the universe as a torus, a donut, basically, and this and that. Fascinating guy. Yeah, Arthur Young, very fascinating. I have 3 of his books.
Yeah, when these people come up with all this stuff about the universe, and I'm not buying any of it because they have no idea. They're just making it up, really. I mean, I don't know what's true for sure, but I know it's not what NASA tells me. I don't know, what the real truth is and what it is, but I don't believe anybody that works for the government.
Come to think of it, the power of the mind, it reminds me, when I went to get Arthur Young's 2 major books, I went to a bookstore and I asked for them. And they said, we have 1 copy of one, and the other one is definitely out of stock. So I was going to leave, and I thought, no, I'm destined to have those books, and I'm going to have them.
Give me those
so
books.
I looked. And the one that I couldn't find previously was way out of place, and I just happened to stumble on it. And then when I was going down the aisles, I found the other one. So the guy said, I don't understand. We got this marked out of stock. Well, I had both my books, and I left the store with them.
Isn't that great how that works? And it just, I remember it was 1985. I was driving down the street. There was a great bookstore called Book People. It was very famous, Book People in Austin, and it was like a real trippy, hippy-doopy bookstore that you would have loved. And I just knew I had to go in there. I made a right. I didn't even think about it. I walked in the store. I walked around. I knew exactly where I was going, and I found a book called The Internal Exercises by Dr. Stephen Chang. And I have that book today, and I use 30 years, 40 years later. Now, how does that happen? I had no idea where I was going. You resonate with this because it's not wee woo to you because you're wee woo. You're as wee woo as they get. I like it.
Definitely, I have a friend that can validate when he was commenting about my synchronicity with things. Mm-hmm. I said I found a huge dictionary in this library. It's about a foot thick, and I said let's experiment. So he was an initiate of a group called Radhaswami, one of the Radhaswami spinoffs. And one of their mantras is Radhaswami. So I opened up this huge dictionary and pointed, and I hit the word Radhaswami.
Did you really?
And he just shook his head.
He's like, sure, whatever. Adam Bergstrom is here. We have 4 or 5 emails already. We'll get to all your emails. If you care to join us, you can just email in patrick@oneradionetwork.com, or you can call if you're brave. Nobody calls these days because everybody's too busy texting. 888-663-6386. This from Josephine. Elemental song in the subject line. Then she says, it worked for me in emergency. Thanks, Adam. See, there you go. She didn't tell about the emergency. What, did you need some rain or something like that?
Great. Yeah, I've used it for non-emergencies and was told by Swami Nitty-Gritty, don't do that. It's not a good idea. And it did backfire. It did backfire the one time I did. I've been really careful about it lately. It's tempting, though. It's always tempting to use.
Someone told me that Michael Jackson could not sleep due to all the LED lights on his property. You think that's true? I wonder where that came from.
It's possible because Michael Jackson was a very sensitive guy. There's
Oh,
no doubt
yeah.
about that. He was involved in a bit of way. He may have been involved with children, but a lot of people have who are a lot worse now. Now he would be considered an arch conservative, for God's sake, what they're doing to kids
Yeah.
now.
Just my gut, and I don't know what I'm talking about, so who knows? But I never got the juice that he was doing something with kids. I just never got that. You know what I mean? Spiritually bad. He loved kids and he built playgrounds, but I don't think for me, I just can't stretch to someplace nefarious. I don't know.
What's interesting is Donald Trump actually was a friend of Michael Jackson and trusted his kids with Michael Jackson. So that's some validation right there. But as George Carlin put it, Michael Jackson was such a good musician, by God, he deserves a few kids.
Yeah, I heard him on a few interviews. He didn't do many, but he was really a genuinely sweet guy, really, really was.
We've watched, he was one of the greatest musicians. The first, I saw him do the moonwalk for the first time on TV. Just blew my mind. I also saw Elvis. Those are the two entertainers in my life who I saw the Ed Sullivan Show, and then I saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk. Just blew my mind. I mean, I became an instant fan of both of those guys. And I think Michael Jackson actually was the greater entertainer if you really put all of his songwriting and his abilities and his dance moves into proportion. We've watched thousands of hours of Michael Jackson documentaries, concerts, all of that, everything. Vibrant Gal was a fan too. Big fans.
I have fond memories. I worked for a station in Poplar Bluff, Missouri in 1969 when I got out of the Navy. Rock and roll station, Poplar Bluff. And we used to play I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. It was Michael Jackson. I'm getting goosebumps from time. Michael Jackson up front. It was a great song, and that was his first breakout thing. And he was the lead on that song, I Want You Back. And I think he was probably like 8 years old or something, like crazy, And that was in 1969. Wow.
Back when I worked in a psychedelic nightclub in 1970, 71, that's what my girlfriend was really hung up on. Little Michael, he's the greatest musician, We were listening to all the other things, the Rolling Stones and everything else. Yeah. But, he, right from the beginning with the group, he stood out.
Oh, he was right there.
Master musician.
You remember watching Elvis? I remember I was at my grandma's house and all the kids, we were lying on, I always remember it. We were lying on the floor watching TV and the adults were behind us. And I don't know, what year was that when he did that? Do you know?
It had to be like around 55, I believe 55? It was, when he was on the first show. Because when I saw it, my half-brother was still alive then. And he jumped up after the show and was going crazy. This guy's going to be huge. He's going to be the hugest star ever. He was jumping up and down, just wild, almost frothing at the mouth. And I agreed. I was a junior high school kid, and right away I was taken by him too. Couldn't wait to see his first movie. What was the name of that, black and white? That was his best movie.
Oh, I Love Me Tender.
No, his first movie was his third, I think. The first one was about New Orleans, where he did Crawfish. One of my favorite Elvis songs, Crawfish.
No, I don't know that one.
For some reason, that the title, one of my favorite movies, and it's gone today.
I liked Viva Las Vegas because I was in love with Anne Margaret.
One of the people I know was his star, Marcia Mason, in one of the movies. I was in the senior play with Marcia Mason, and I was talking to another girl who was an Elvis fan, by the way, and she liked me because I was exactly his height, 6 feet 1 3/4 inches. So I missed my cue. And so Marcia Mason, to this day, she's still an actress. She probably remembers the guy who missed his cue, and she had to make up lines to do that. She later went into Overstreet. It was a TV series about a blind. She was his secretary, a blind investigator. And then she was in one of his best movies. Maybe the Las Vegas one or the Hawaii one. There's so many of them.
That's amazing. That's great stuff. I think we're going to be able to. I think we're going to be able to give you a tape of Elvis Presley's first appearance on Ed Sullivan, and we're going to do that right after this commercial. So stay right there. Commercials is what we do to talk about different products that we sell, and that's how we support ourselves along with your donations. By the way, they have picked up, and I really appreciate it. If you got $20 or $10 a month, $5, whatever, just you go on our website, click the donation button with a little dog, and you can donate $10 a month to us. That's a nice number, right? We have a lot of stuff for $10. I mean, that's like one stop to Starbucks, or half a stop to Starbucks these days. So you can do that, and we're trying to do that more and more so we don't have to depend on product sales, which over the last year have really decreased because who knows why. Don't get me started. But thank you for your support, and thank you so much for participating in our little fund drive. And we got some bucks in the bank so we can have some space to breathe and say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do here? If you know how wonky the banking system is, and you've ever listened to G. Edgar Griffin and the Jekyll Island book that he got from Eustace Mullins, you can still find a show that we did with Eustace Mullins many years ago. He was the guy, he's got the books, The Federal Reserve, The New World Order. He was into this stuff 60, 70 years ago, before it was cool, before people thought he was a conspiracy theorist. If you'd like to buy some gold and silver coins, you can do it. Go to U.S. Coin Capital, 800-878-2646. Talk to Fred, and he'll get you going, baby. Yeah, and he's not going to try to sell you a bunch of... No, he's just not going to do it. He'll take care of you. He'll take care of you. And make sure that you get just what you want. 800-878-2646. He only does real American money. He doesn't do bricks and bars and stuff like that. Real American money. Give him a call. We talked about the kidneys. One of my favorite kidney things is a herbal concoction from Chinese medicine called Ho Shu Wu. Sometimes it's called He Shu Wu. And you can go on Shen Blossom. And if you go on from our website, I appreciate it, and click on the shop and look at all the products he has. He has ginseng going towards 50 year, upwards of 50 year. He doesn't say the exact age, but it's old stuff. You could probably take a few drops of ginseng, this ginseng, every day, forever, and leave your body with style, baby. Shen Blossom, OneRadioNetwork.com. It is a great company. Good stuff. If you want to brush your teeth with something other than toothpaste that has fluoride and glycerin, did you know that glycerin, which is every toothpaste this side of the Monongahela River, seriously, glycerin inhibits the teeth from remineralizing. We interviewed a fellow who taught at a dental school. His name was Dr. Gerald Judd, J-U-D-D. I think it was in 1997. And he talked about glycerin. I'll always remember that show. Glycerin, you don't want it. So it's hard to find a toothpaste without it because you think dentists really want to keep your teeth healthy? Come on. How are they going to make a living? I don't think it's that spooky, but somehow they got talked into using glycerin. But it definitely inhibits remineralization of your teeth. That'll do it. What we use is Pearl Sim. It's from real pearl. Real pearl? That's right. It has lots and lots of magnesium, but it's from a living source, So it's not like taking a magnesium capsule, which we don't recommend. That stuff will end up in your arteries. God knows where it'll end up. But this is from a pearl. A real deal. From oysters. Brush your teeth with it. You can take it internally if you want. It's a great product. Pearl Sim, OneRadioNetwork.com. And then we're going to go back and hear Elvis and Adam Bergstrom. Air Doctor. Wonderful, wonderful product. Air Doctor. This is a little air filter baby that's very intuitive. It's all computerized. It will speed up when it smells stuff that it doesn't like. You can actually hear it. If you cook bacon, it'll speed up and get rid of the bacon whatever and go back down. It's very quiet. It has different lights that'll flash when the filters need to be changed. They have 2 filters, very easy to change. They got a HEPA filter and an outward filter. Man, this baby cleans it up really well. Yeah, no matter where you live, you want to clean up everything out of the air. We don't know what's in there. Get this Air Doctor. Go to OneRadioNetwork.com, OneRadioNetwork.com. I think it's also in our store, but it's also on the front page. And click on it, and then buy yourself and one of these guys. And it'll guide you through to know which one to buy, depending on how many square feet you wanna do. Air Doctor. Click on it from OneRadioNetwork.com.
From the Hill Country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com.
And there's Adam Bergstrom, Chronobiotic Nutrition. I love Sharon's little slide there. Another fun and funky bits of wisdom. You got a lot of funky bits. Adam, tell folks about your blog on One Radio Network, and where do they find that?
Adam's blog, and I've been putting about 5 or 6 or 7, but I'm increasing because we had some major crises going on here. So I missed a whole month of blogs at one time. I noticed from June 6th to July 7th to the worst. Just got through another crisis here, but so I probably put up somewhere about 10 a month, I'd say. And they're about various subjects: solar nutrition, mind hacking, and various things, even political, because we live in a very dangerous age. And I'm one of the few people who know that Michael Milken is behind a lot of this. He's a buddy of Larry Fink, and all of these people are coming together. And you'll notice that the Milken Institute is where Fauci and everybody planned this whole thing under Michael Milken's direction, who came up with the mRNA vaccines. And for some reason, he gets totally ignored.
He was the guy, the Milken. Yeah, I know you've done a lot of research on him.
That's why he got pardoned by Trump, because Trump had to pardon him. He was leading the whole thing. Trump never let Fauci go. And Fauci was not the main guy. The main guy was Milken, and he's the one who started Operation, what was it called? Operation Warp Speed? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was warped, that's for sure.
It was warped, that's for sure.
Total fake. The whole thing was made up, and the deaths occurred, but they occurred in the hospital, with ventilators and with Tylenol and with all kinds of drugs, whatever hospitals give. It's you never hear how many deaths occur from Tylenol, and I've experienced that myself. I've had clients that have been damaged for life with Tylenol.
Oh, it's hardcore stuff. Okay, I'm going to see there. I wanted to play this little short clip of Elvis Presley. Adam, I don't think you're going to be able to hear it. Unfortunately, there's some reason the video, when we play it to a guest, we haven't figured it out. But you'll get it. You could probably even listen on the front page of One Radio Network if you want to hear it. But now I got to figure out how to play this thing. But I don't want to play the. It wants to sell me a prostate shrinking product. I don't want to do that. I don't think it's going to like this. Hold on, let me do it again. Okay. Elvis Presley, Ed Sullivan. Because most of you rascals are just too young. You didn't get to see it, so we're going to play it for you. Web browser. Add input. Web browser. Okay. Let's see if this is going to work. Let's see if it's going to work. Okay. Here you go. I think it's going to work. Okay, hello? One more time. One more time. I just want to do this. I don't know why. It was almost working. Some of these old videos from UB2B, they have a hard time doing it, doing their thing. There you go. As soon as I go to play it, it doesn't want to play it. Sorry, I won't waste any more of your time. One more time. Third time's a charm, right, Adam? Third time's? I wonder where that comes from. No. It starts and stops. Not going to happen. Well, it was a great idea, wasn't it? It's a great idea. Yeah, I can see Ed Sullivan, and I start it, and it just stops, you know. Computers.
That first show, he did the hip movement, and he got banned. The next time he was on Sullivan, they said, nothing below the waist.
They had the camera people keep above the waist.
They had to keep it
Isn't
above.
That fascinating, the hip movement? Oh, my God.
They thought that was really obscene back then.
Could you imagine if whoever they were, if they were looking at what's going on today? Oh, my God.
I went to school in the era of the gray flannel suit. They even had a movie with Gregory Peck called The Man in the Gray Flannel Suit. I read the book, I saw the movie, and I was already a beatnik, only I couldn't meet any beatniks, so I was a beatnik by myself, just reading about the beatniks.
I remember that movie. That was really something, wasn't
it? The Man in the Gray Flannel Suit, yeah. Gregory Peck was in some revolutionary type of movies because he criticized that. He was in the Mockingbird movie that was written by Harper Lee, the novel, and several other really, really good movies he was in. Good actor. Now I just watch Russian movies.
Do you know, I think that, interesting. Do you know that, oh no, she's here. I wanted to put this up so we could talk about it. Copy, save image. Okay. Gonna do desktop. Yeah. You've probably seen this, folks. Let's see if we can show it and talk about it. So, I can do it here. This1radionetwork.com. If you have a question for Adam, when I'm trying to get my life together here, we got some good emails. Let me bring this in. Where is she? How's life in California while I'm doing this, Adam? Tell folks what you've been up to.
Let's see what I've been up to. I started writing I finished the 9th issue of Mind Over Matter, which is a theme in my writings. It's in mesmerism and miracles, which basically I don't recommend mesmerism. I recommend you do it yourself. If people could be healed of extreme cataracts and all kinds of diseases with just the mind only, why not do it yourself instead of go to a middleman, is my thesis, and then find out what the problems are by mind hacking for the millions, Also, I've written a book called The Body Language Compendium, which goes into uh, like kidney. What can kidney be? It can be decision problems. It can be, there's an expression called man of my kidney, meaning you don't keep your word, and that can cause kidney problems. Heart can be heartbreak, heartache, all of those things we hear in those songs. Spleen can be not keeping up with the Joneses or soured off in life. Lungs can be grief, like one of dear friends of mine, a married couple. One died. They had a divorce that was bitter, a bitter divorce. One died of lung cancer. The female died of lung cancer on the left side, and the male of lung cancer on the right side.
Wow.
You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make that up, man. Yeah, this is what I want to show you. I'm sure you folk, maybe some of you have seen this. This has gone super viral. Have you seen this, Adam?
On Facebook, I saw you post it.
You can't believe all the different people that have seen this thing around the world. Now, here is a girl. I mean, does this look like a girl or what? And it's a computer. It's a what do they call a artificial intelligence? It's just I don't know. It's a CGI, right? Computer generated image is what it is. Amazing. And this gal is making hundreds of $1,000s a month around the world, and she doesn't even exist because all these guys think that she's real, and she keeps saying she's going to take her clothes off, so they keep sending money. Oh, my God. So they're probably going to show her pictures with her clothes off. I guess that's coming, right?
It's coming.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, you can't tell this gal is not real, huh? Amazing. I think Adam, that this is at the heart of the whole writer's strike going on right now in California, is this whole computer-generated thing and artificial intelligence, and they're wanting to use AGI to write screenplays. Oh, that'll work well. And then, oh, right. Good. And then, but if they can get these actresses to look exactly like they want, to not pay them any money, right? Not have to pay Julia Roberts or Margot Robbie or whoever money, why would they do it? I mean, these people are, they're business guys. So what do you think about this stuff? What's your take on it? Big picture.
Yeah, I think it's obscene, actually. At first, when I first heard about this about 20 years ago, it was kind of really interesting. But Tom Cruise was one of the first people who realized this was going to cut into his business because they could make images of him younger and things like that. So he was one of the first people to protest about it. And now, basically, when an actor makes, what are they making now, 20 million, 30 million a flick? This is going to cut into them severely because they won't have to pay anything. They can just pay the AI company up in Silicon Valley to make up. Look, she's got silicone breasts too, right?
Yeah. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you. Just stay right there. I want to finish this line of conversation. It's interesting that we interviewed a fellow, Robert Ritzman, and you can actually copyright your image. You can copyright your fingerprints. You can copyright your voice. Legally, copyright your footprint. Copyright your DNA. Copyright whatever you want. And if anybody uses it, you own it, baby, and you can take them to court. So Tom Cruise ought to listen to the show. But you know what I mean? You can do it. So there's ways to protect you. But I know it's just... So that's why, Adam Bergstrom, what I want to do, and ladies and gentlemen, I don't even want to use tape. When I produce movies and make movies, I want to go back to film so people will know that it's real, well, real as you get, with film, and not do CGI stuff. I'm just not going to do it. Not going to do it. And I think it'll be popular. I love watching film. Don't you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference?
Oh, yeah. I like the old classic films during the golden age, Dustin Hoffman, all those movies, The Graduate, Easy Rider. That was my favorite phase of movies.
And I just like the texture of film. It's got a depth of field. It's got a texture that looks to me, it looks more real than tape. Tape is like analog, digital, right? And film is analog. It's just the difference, like between analog music and digital music. Real musicians will say there's no comparison. And now a lot of musicians are going back to recording on vinyl again, analog. It's interesting.
Sometimes I would dedicate a Friday to seeing 6 movies. I go to the movie theater and watch 6 movies in 3 different theaters.
Yeah. What's this gal's name? Her name is Mila Sophia.
Mila Soul.
Yeah. So I'm just going to write her a love letter and tell her I love her. Just kidding. Okay, let's go to the phones. Who's this? Good morning.
Good morning. This is Joe Martin.
Hello, Joe Martin.
Joe.
Hi, yes. How are you guys today? You're looking great.
Well, we're just having fun, being silly.
We're good, yeah, both of us.
Good. Well, I figured since no one was calling, I could give a question here for Adam.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. I see on Facebook you said that thyroid medicine is a cure for high blood pressure. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, a correct thyroid causes, or an incorrect thyroid causes most heart attacks, high blood pressure, and psoriasis. There's all kinds of things caused by it. And the funny thing is, Ray Peat actually believes that the thyroid is the master gland, not the glands upstream from that. We usually talk about the pituitary, either the anterior pituitary or the pineal or whatever. He calls it the master gland. And it's so important. I have 2 of the medicines, the Silanel and the Cytoplus, that we use on a fairly regular basis. And as people know, I'm not really a supplement guy that much, except as a medicine. And we're doing a lot with thyroid now because it does, after a while, the thyroid starts weakening and you get some problems. Now, mind over matter is even more important. But sometimes you need a backup system, and thyroid is one of them.
Wow. So I've heard you say before that that's like the engine to a car, that it has to be running precise. So could anybody just randomly get this medication and start taking it on their own?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes, and they have to be careful because we take very small doses of it. Particularly if you take the T3 by itself, which is active immediately. And I used that when I went through some things back a couple of months ago. I take tiny bits at a time, and now we experiment with the T3 and T4 because many people, particularly women that are higher in estrogen, they actually the thyroid will back up and actually put them into a coma.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that the original tests were done on 20-year-old men, and women weren't even involved, and they're the ones who have the bulk of thyroid cancer and thyroid problems. 10 times more thyroid cancer in women than in males.
So we should talk about hold on, Joe. We should talk about how Joe and others could actually do this on their own if it's so kind of spicy. Now, there's 2 products that we've received from Mexico, right, Adam? From Mexico. And you could do little razor blade, little slivers of it, so you don't get in a jam, and check your morning body temperature or some other things, Adam, and kind of see if it's, helping. But you got to be careful with it, as Adam said.
Yeah, and I'm imprecise. I don't like testing and things like that, so I kind of go with what I feel like more than the temperatures. But that is the scientific way to do it. Do the body temperature. And remember, if it's hot, a corpse is going to be the same temperature, so your temperature test isn't going to work in Texas right now when you're having a heat wave. You have to be in a relatively cool temperature. So there are other tests too. One of the best is the thyroid Achilles heel test, where you either lie on your belly on a table or prop your knee up on a chair and you just tap the Achilles heel. And the Achilles heel should move dramatically. If it doesn't, you have a thyroid problem. And when I first was still doing tuna fish and mayonnaise and all the junk food and hadn't discovered oranges, we did that tap test on me. It didn't move at all. Vibrant Gal's foot moved okay, but mine didn't. Now it does. So whatever I'm doing it right. And I recommend, I'm a minimalist. Also, if you feel great, don't even mess with it. But if you have a problem, then consider experimenting with tiny, tiny bits. We use, like, sometimes we'll use one of those tiny tablets, and it takes us like a week to use it. We use such tiny amounts of it.
There's another idea, Joe, and everybody else. Yeah. You can go to Dr. Tom Cowan website. You know Cowan, right? Dr. Cowan?
Cowan. He sounds very
C-O-W-A-N. He's the fellow, one of the There Is No Virus guys. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And he has a product that I've known friends that have used to kind of boost up their thyroid. And go on there and find that puppy and try that. It's a very, very safe. I know lots of people that have taken it. What Adam is talking about is something that we can get from Mexico, right, Adam? It's Sinuplus.
Mexico.
Has T3 and T4, which is a much stronger hit, and you got to be careful with. So.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with something that's strong because it's probably stronger than me. But I think I'm going to try the Tom Conway because I've been doing the solar timing eating it'll be either 5 or 6 years come October.
Oh.
And I cannot get, faithful, but I do go off with one thing, ice cream. That's my, but nothing else. Nothing. When I say nothing, people think I'm crazy. But my belly is so bloated, I cannot get rid of it. No matter what I do, exercise, walking, my trampoline that I got from Patrick, I bought 2 of them from you. Nothing I can do gets rid of it.
Let me ask Adam. Adam, just off the top of mind, do you think that Joe is eating something that her body just is not happy with, causes the bloat, or what are some other ideas on bloating?
Definitely something the body is not happy with, and also the gas backs up. Now, we need a certain amount of gas because that's the propulsion to make the colon move. Mm-hmm. Without gas, it's not going anyplace. We need barometric pressure to be different on one end to the other end so that it moves. But many people eat gaseous foods that make all kinds of gas. They have endotoxins. They have different problems like that. And some of the best ways to deal with that, first of all, eat solar, which Joe is already doing. Right. But the other thing is freeform dancing, where you move in different ways, because people who do stringent exercise that it requires precision, like Tai Chi, yoga, they're often subject to colon problems and bloating because we need to be loose and make movements we don't usually make. So a Sufi teacher of mine who cured a lot of my problems by simply freeform dancing, you would visualize yourself as a kite floating in the air, and every loose breeze would move you in different directions. Yeah. You would visualize yourself going out to your neck in the ocean, and the waves are moving you in various ways. But we tend to do precision exercise. 1, 2, 1, 2. Concentration curls. Concentration curls.
That doesn't
Instead
do much.
of, how does a child? A child doesn't do concentration curls. Every mother who has a child knows they have a heck of a workout in 1/2 hour trying to duplicate a kid. If you make a child realize that you're duplicating their actions, you are in for the workout of your life. I thought of actually opening a gym and having a kid at the center, and then everybody follows what the kid does, and you get the best workout of your life.
Joe, I have to tell you that there's sometimes, if you've probably felt sometimes if you get a little pressure up there, on your upper stomach, and you need to belch, but it's hard or something like that, you can get on that rebounder that you have, and I do just exactly what Adam says. You jump, and I just put my arms and everything, and I just go crazy and just freeform, and you'd be surprised. In no time, you're just going, bloop,
I do, but I've had this bloat for years. And I belong to 3 or 4 senior centers, and there's predominantly Spanish people, and the music. I'm dancing for hours. I mean, they applaud. They go, "Oh my God, how are you doing that?" I mean, I'm like a kid. That doesn't even work.
Well, you're probably just eating something that your body doesn't like, and you've got to figure that out. It's something that you're eating that your body doesn't like. And
also, who's the matter? One of the things I first came across is a syndrome called Big Mama syndrome, where a person was an older sister, and they were kind of putting responsibility for the other kids because they were the older sister. And Adana Lay correctly identified, said, "You have Big Mama syndrome." And she laughed. She said she was in charge of the kids, and so you keep that. You don't see skinny guys like me running corporations. You have to throw your weight around. You have to have weight. So many people use it as a protection, just like an animal looks bigger by making its fur go up, and we have reflexes to that to the back of our neck. Well, we feel protected with weight gain, and there's other ways too. I can go into a whole different syndrome.
I think you're right, Adam. You're right. There's 5 men in my life that I just want to get on a little airplane and fly away.
Oh, there you go. Start working on that. Sweetie, we have to move on, but I want to give you a little tip. drtomcowan.com. The product is called Thyroid Natural Glandular, and it is from range-fed animals, New Zealand and Australia. Animal husbandry regulations, they don't have any junk in there, and it's a kind of a freeze-dried little glandular thyroid. And it's like $30. I would try that and see if that doesn't raise your body temp and make you feel better. All right, sweetie, thanks a lot. We got to go.
Thank you. I love you too, men. I love you. You're the 2 men that I love.
We love you too. Yeah, you got to love. You got to start loving the other guys in your life so your little thing goes away. See you soon.
Yes, right.
She loves us, but you got to love the guys and who's the man over there. Yeah.
She's a cool person. She's been a Facebook friend of mine for a long time. Very, very cool.
I kind of remember the name, and she. That's funny. She bought some rebounders from us too. Boy, I love my rebounder. I use it. I have mine back there. I still can jump on it behind me, and I have one downstairs. I don't do a lot these days.
I used to have 4 of them.
Did you really?
And I'd put 3 of them in the living room because you know how people tend to put things on the side and then they forget about them. It's easy. I had them in the living room, so to get from my bedroom to the kitchen, I had to make 3 large jumps. And of course, you always say, well, since I'm on here anyway, I'll jump for a couple of minutes or so. And that way, I was always jumping. Every time I went to the bathroom, I had to jump across the rebounders.
I would guess, if I had to guess, that you've had your body over 80 years. You've probably done more crazy, cool, alternative things than anybody that on the earth plane. I really believe that. Haven't you? And you know you have.
Some of them really nutty. I advise people, through my experience, do not do a cayenne enema.
No, let's not do that one. Yeah.
I was told by my teacher, Dr. Merrill Roy, who I got my colonic license from, you can do a cayenne enema, but use a tiny, tiny bit. Well, when he meant a tiny bit, he meant a tiny bit. I thought a pinch would be okay.
Right.
Whoa, like a Bunsen burner in my butt. Yeah, so I have done some really weird, crazy things.
I remember when Dr. Jennifer Daniels first started talking about turpentine, and she talked about doing a cap of turpentine in a bathtub, and smoking in there. So I didn't hear correctly. I did a cup.
Whoa.
Oh, my God. A cup of turpentine in a bathtub. My genitals, the family jewels, burned for like a week. Seriously. That's so you got to listen carefully before you try stuff. A cap, she said do a cap. Well, I do a cap. Oh my God!
It's a good idea. I've done Clorox baths before with a half a cup, and it burned. And I thought, this is crazy. I'm not going to do it. I was told this by Swami Nitty Gritty. Years later, I met a man who had a serious. I forget which way you go with. Is the first degree the worst or the third degree? I think it was the third degree is the worst.
Yeah,
it was the worst. The kind you have to have transplants and everything. It was a flash burn.
Wow.
I worked for an oil company. He went home and he went in a Clorox bath. And then he used Vaseline to slide his Levi's back on and went back to work.
Okay.
And what happened, instead of having all those transplants you usually do, he did that morning, noon, and night. He went home at midday and did the Clorox bath 3 times and then slipped his jeans back on. And his legs, he showed me his legs. They look like a teenage, he was in his 50s, and they look like a teenage boy's legs or even a girl's legs.
Really?
They were so, the skin grew back young instead of normal. So that blew my mind because before that I still won't go use a Clorox bath unless I have a reason to do it. But he was living proof that that type of extreme therapy works. It worked for him.
And he just did a capful. Capful?
No, he did a cup, the whole cup, just like Donald Lay said to do. And I thought that was crazy because you put a lot of water in the bathtub to do it because if you use a small amount, you are going to get burned. But I was tingling for 24 hours afterwards or more. So I said, this is crazy. I'm never going to do this again. But you never say never. You never know. And in a burn, I would definitely consider that. But otherwise, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it. We're talking with Adam Bergstrom. Yes, no, maybe. Chronobiotic Nutrition is a hard copy that I think you can still get on Amazon, or you can get it from Muir. Do you still sell them on your place?
We sell it. Yeah, we sell it. We still have, we're getting low, but we have enough for probably a couple of years. Unless we have a rush on it.
Solartiming.com has the...
Solartiming.com, yeah. And about 40 or 45 ebooks and journals and newsletters and things like that, videos, etc.
I got a little I got a Clorox story, which I think you'll find interesting. I had a food company. I started in 1988. We had a fresh salsa, lots of cilantro. Well, lots of cilantro. The shelf life on the salsa was only like 7 days max. So you can imagine what that took to bring it to stores and make sure it was crazy. But we did it because, me, I like to do the best. It's the best, so we're going to do the fresh. And we got told that we could soak the cilantro in a bleach solution for 15 minutes, and that would make it last longer in the bottle, in the jar, because we weren't cooking it, right? Interesting. So we started doing it, and it did. It gave us about 2 or 3 shelf life. So I guess it killed whatever stuff is on the cilantro with just plain water. And then I started thinking, oh my God, Clorox, that can't be good, right? So I thought about that, and I started to do some research, and I found some expert on Clorox, and here's what he told me. This is fascinating. He said Clorox is the cleanest bleach you can get. They make it in stainless steel containers. It's just bleach. There's nothing else in there. And I felt good after. Isn't that interesting that Swami Nitty Gritty said use Clorox? He must have known.
It is. The only caveat, watch some bleaches, they'll say they add something to it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if it just is plain Clorox and that's all that's in there.
No, this is Clorox brand. See, it's a
sodium
brand.
hypochlorite, I believe. It's clean. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Clorox has been around so long, people call it Clorox, just like they call it Band-Aid. But Band-Aid is a brand name. It's a Band-Aid company. It's the Clorox company. It's like a refrigerator. Frigidaire was a brand. When you're first, baby, that's when they are like what was it, IBM, what they call it? What they call when you first made a copy? Xerox.
Xerox?
Remember in the old days, they say, would you Xerox me a copy? That's a brand name. But when you get there, we want to have a Coke, it's a brand name. That's the people that are still alive today. Because there's a great book I had, the 15 Immutable Laws of Marketing. The 15 Immutable Laws of Marketing. You know what the first one is? Be first. Be first. And the first company, they're still first today. Hertz, Coke,
By the way, I know a story behind Coke.
Yeah, give us that.
Coca-Cola, everybody called it a Coke, and Coke neglected to market the name Coke. They had Coca-Cola. So somebody inherited a bottling company, and they thought...
Trademark it. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt, but trademark it. They forgot to trademark it. Go ahead.
Yeah, they trademark is what I meant. They forgot to trademark it. Anyway, someone inherited a bottling company, and they deliberately changed the name, sold it as Coke, and Coca-Cola couldn't do anything, and they did it deliberately to sell it to a high price to Coca-Cola.
And they did?
Because they bought it. Yeah, they bought it. They made a whole bunch of money.
So Coca-Cola branded Coca-Cola, but they didn't brand Coke? That's crazy.
Exactly.
How could you do that?
I had a boss at one time when I worked in the clothing industry, was a really sharp businessman. He loved stories like that. He also told me at the World's Fair, someone that they would bid to have the chairs that people sit at the World's Fair. So he underbid everybody, and they couldn't figure out, this guy's not going to make any money. He sold advertising. I made a fortune.
What do you mean he sold out? I don't
on
know.
On the chairs, like you see at bus stops now. There's a big sign behind it about IPM or whatever they're advertising. Same thing they do on buses and Volkswagens and things like that. So no one had done that at that time. So he underbid everybody and then put the advertising and made a fortune. So those kind of business tricks are interesting, and I've had some business friends that did things like that. Yeah. The branding thing is really fascinating to me, especially when you think about it. Hey, do you have a Band-Aid? Can you imagine everybody that said that that's the name of the company? I mean, try to go against that, try to go against that. Definitely. And that's the evil J&J, Johnson & Johnson. They are just one of the worst companies ever. They've been sued for Tylenol and everything else before. Oh, are they the Tylenol dudes, J&J? Oh, Tylenol has been written in Forbes magazine as causing 25% of all fatal liver deaths in the United States. Really? And in time, they said 50%. What was the difference? 50% if you count suicides, but if you count accidental, it's 25%. So 50% of all deaths by fatal liver disease are caused by Tylenol, either 25% by suicide or 25% just taking normal doses. And of course, in the so-called COVID pandemic, guess how many people died from Tylenol? A bunch. Lots. I was called for a case in El Paso one time where the person went in for a flu into the hospital and came out with, or didn't get, they kept her because she went into seizures. And she kept having these seizures on an hourly basis, 2 or 3 an hour. And so I was called to see her. And right away I said, did they tell you to stick your tongue out? She'd been in the hospital for a week. And she said, no, they didn't tell me that. Can you stick your tongue out? No. Could you before this? Yes. And nobody asked you that. What geniuses. Well, I said, did you take any drugs? And she said, absolutely none. They didn't give you any drugs? No. And we think of Tylenol as a non-drug. Right. Because finally I got out of her. Well, they did give me 350 milligram Tylenols. I said, you have Tylenol poisoning. And indeed, she went in the hospital another week, had psychiatrists, had heart specialists. It turned out to be Ray's syndrome, Tylenol poisoning. And they probably cost $100,000 or more for this woman just because they gave her Tylenol. How can they still sell this stuff? How is it even possible? I don't get it. It is amazing. It's been written up. They have had court suits for infant Tylenol, where they have been sued repetitively, and they paid off. But they put, what do they call, gag orders? You know, you can't say anything.
Can't say it.
And it was written. I called in a radio show one time, and the radio announcer wouldn't believe me. I sent him I made a Xerox, there's that word, of the article and sent it in to him. It was in the 1990s, 97, Forbes magazine, and it was in Time. Now you don't see it. The pharmaceuticals have so much companies, so much power. We live in a medical police state that you can't say things like that anymore. I just did. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, speaking of medical, now check this out. I saw this story this morning. In a split decision, a federal appeals court on Friday upheld a controversial pandemic-era law in Connecticut that ended decades-old religious exemptions for vaccinations requirement for kids. So there's this court that just said, yeah, you cannot use a religious exemption to get your kids out of being vaccinated. How can you be on a judge and rule this kind of stuff when you, everywhere in the world, they know that these vaccinations are dangerous? I don't get that. I mean, are we some Orwellian black hole, or what the hell is going on? My goodness.
We are definitely in an Orwellian black hole, and people are divided. Look at Jennifer Aniston now shooting off her big mouth. She won't have any friends who are unvaccinated anymore. She's not going to hang out with anyone who's been unvaccinated. We have to do our part.
Yeah. I saw a video that there are people that want to bring co-conspirator charges to all these people that were out there on video, like her, like even Morgan Freeman, who I really like a lot, and all kinds of people just pounding away of how important these vaccines are. But I guess we shouldn't be too critical. Now, Aniston, who knows? But like Morgan Freeman, I'm sure he probably believed that these things were good, right? 2 or 3 years ago. So we can't throw the baby out the bathwater.
Actors are not known for being intelligent.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at Robert De Niro. For God's sake, he hangs out with the medical medium, people like that. I mean, and they've all fallen for these channelers. Do you remember the guy? What was the name with the voice? I am so-and-so from the planet so-and-so. And he talked like that. And the guy in Star Trek was a regular devotee of this guy. Ramtha.
Yeah.
Remember Ramtha?
Ramtha.
What a scam that was.
This is pretty cool. Researchers, director of the Institute of Medical and Scientific Inquiry in New Mexico, who has a doctorate in computer science, performed several analyses on 2019 through 2021 to explore potential relationships between the number of early childhood vaccinations required by developed nations under the age of 5. Few measures in public health can compare with the impact of vaccines, which are credited to having reduced disease, blah, blah, blah. Yet the study, huge study, found that developed nations requiring more neonatal vaccinations have unintentional consequences that increase childhood mortality, challenging the idea that more vaccines administered always result in fewer deaths. I mean, the science is out there. You want to talk about science. These people check this stuff out, maybe. There's no science that these vaccines are good. There's just none. It's just all
peace, they kill people. And it's been known before COVID. It's been known that they kill. You could find the syndromes they talked about from vaccines in Wikipedia. Now they're all cleansed of that. You can't say that anymore in Wikipedia because they do have CIA connections and FBI connections.
Oh, I know. Some of the stuff you see on Wikipedia is like, okay, really?
You know, Wikipedia is one of my most important research tools, and this is how to use it. Every time you want to say how large an almond is, how tall an almond tree is, great. You can't find that anyplace else. But as soon as they say how it works, jump ship at that point. Because they don't have a clue how things work. But if they say how tall it is, how big it is, what year something happened, great information. But as soon as they explain how it works, it's garbage.
Do they ever get good information on who owns these companies? Could you use it for that as well?
You can use it because sometimes they put like I found out about Bud Light. People think we won the battle with Bud Light. They have 600 beverages. They have at one point they had about 300 beers. They're cutting down on beers because they're co-company with Microsoft. Bud Light didn't hurt them at all. They made money on it. They're onto circular packaging, and they're into environmental surveillance. They're involved in so many other companies, and they're laughing at Kid Rock shooting a beer can. They think we won something by him doing that. So it's ridiculous. This company is running circles around us and laughing their butts off.
How did they make money on this trans person trashing the sales? I don't understand how they made money on that. Explain.
It's called selling short on one beer. Meanwhile, are people now still buying Corona, and are they not buying all the other beers in the world? Budweiser is not the only beer out there. So they have over 100 beers, and that's not their major industry anymore. They're into packaging, surveillance, working with Microsoft, working with a company called QA or something like that. Globally, nationally, they have brewers in, I think they have, how many brewing plants in Russia? 29 or something like that? They're worldwide. Huge. They're a monster. They're a cartel. And they're government sponsored and get all kinds of money and tax breaks.
I believe the main company is InBev, right? InBev? Is that it?
InBev is the big one. They're huge. They
bought Budweiser
the
years
big
ago.
company in South America, and they were bigger already, and then they bought Budweiser completely, lock, stock, and barrel. Yeah. So they're a huge Belgium-based company combined with a South American company that bought an American company.
And they probably bought the Clydesdales, too. God love the Clydesdales of Budweiser. Yeah.
Yes, I remember the Clydesdale. I was raised with that on TV.
Yeah. I'm from St. Louis. I was born in St. Louis, so Budweiser was the big beer out of St. Louis, and it was. Then they had Busch, and then Busch Stadium, and that was the trademark of the St. Louis Cardinals was Busch.
We used to get free beer because we had the Busch Gardens in the San Fernando Valley. So we'd go for the tour. You get an hour tour, and it was interesting, and then we get free beer at the end.
That's right.
Yeah, all the employees at Budweiser, by the way, get beer breaks.
Here's an email from Melanie. My brother is losing her hair, and I sent him the podcast you did with Barbara Frank. Wow, that was a long time ago. And he's interested. I thought if I would ask if you known any people that used her methods with success, and what does Adam think about losing hair? Well, let me first answer that we did not receive any people, this was years ago, that said that using her stuff helped her hair grow back. Adam, obviously you haven't found a
Obviously, I haven't found it, but I've seen it. And actually, if I did the session and had the time made the time to do it, I might still have hair. One of them is this technique with the fingers, where you go with the thumbs and the fingers and the thumbs and the fingers. You hold the right hand still, and you hit the fingernail, and then these fingernails. And you do it at a slow pace, about the pace I'm doing, and it will grow hair. Now, I did it for a short period of time, and I'm not a stick-to-it type person. And he mounted his horse and rode off in all directions. That's my philosophy. But somebody learned that from me, and they told their grandfather about it. And his grandfather had nothing to do. He's watching TV all day. He's retired. He grew his hair back, according to my friend. And then if it doesn't work for male pattern baldness, I have a friend, what was her name? Bowden was her last name, and she was a high school kid. And I showed her the technique because she wanted her female hair to grow, and it wouldn't grow below her neck. Well, I come back a year later, and she introduces me to her high school friend, this is the man who grew hair on my head. I said, what? I said, I did that every day, and look at my hair. It's down to my butt practically now in a year.
Okay.
So I started doing it for a while after that again.
Lift your hand up so you get above your name there. You see it? And then show us that again slow. What are you doing?
The left hand, I said the right hand mistakenly before. You hold the left hand steady and you hit the nail almost like you're striking a match. You'll get a slight noise. And then you do the 4 fingers. Adonale could balance his fingers. He could do all 5 at the same time. So you can do it that way. My hand doesn't work that way. I go thumb, fingers, thumb, fingers.
So watch. So you're doing this.
Fingers.
This is my left hand. So you're doing this, and then you do this?
Yeah, like that, sideways.
Yeah. And then you...
And not so fast, though, because so fast will take the hair off, according to O'Donnell. You have to go like, I'd say once every 2 seconds, like tap, 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 about that speed. And you do it in that direction. You do the other direction will take the hair off because it's life flow. You will see some people say to do it this way, but Donald say on, off is what that does.
What you're doing is now this way and then this way,
sideways, where they're matching.
And then you go right to the next finger, or do you stay with the thumb for a while?
Yeah, just like striking a match.
Right.
And now here's the one that I have seen a friend of mine actually grow hair. Polysorbate 80 pickle preservative.
Yeah, you told me about that.
It's one of the cheapest things to get, but they started selling it in health food stores thanks to Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw. So my friend put that Polysorbate 80 shampoo on his head, left it on longer than he was supposed to. In the instructions, you leave it on 5 minutes. And I saw him grow his hair back. It took him 4 years. He grew a full head of hair back. And he kept telling me, we worked out together at the gym, you got to do this. I'm growing hair. Well, at first I didn't say anything. Then I went out of town, came back a few months later. He grew a little more hair, a little more. So over a period of 4 years, I saw him put it all back, everything. He had complete head of hair.
There's an actual shampoo.
Pickle preservative.
There's actual shampoo, Adam, that's called Polysorbate 80.
You can buy it now in health food stores. They add niacin. It seems to be an irritant quality. Some people have claimed they've grown hair by taking an acupuncture brush. It's basically like a steel brush with little needles, very shallow, and you go and you tap your head all over and irritate it, make little holes in your head, basically. And then there was Pablo Arola, who used 100% Smirnoff vodka to use on his head. It seems to be the irritation. And Ray Pete has told of a story of someone who fell in a fireplace and grew a head of hair back from injury. So counter shock technique definitely works. It's just a little bit extreme to go sticking your head in a fireplace.
They've had people grow their hair with vodka?
With vodka. That's what Pablo Arola claimed. He had examples. I haven't seen that. The only one I've actually seen for sure, and he was a good friend of mine because I worked out with him regularly at the gym, and then I kept in contact with him when I managed a health food store in Carpinteria, California. And he grew it back completely. And his was, at that point, I was kind of in between. I had just a little hair on the side here, and it was way back. He had the same hair I did, and he grew it all back.
Interesting. With the polysorbate.
And he told me you should have done it.
With the polysorbate.
Yeah. Now, Dirk Pearson and Sandy Shaw, to be fair, they said it only works in about 8% of people. But it will stop it from falling out.
That's good.
My own son was kind of worried about losing his hair. Fortunately, I think he has more of my wife's genetics. But he said it stopped falling out at that point. So it's good stuff. Polysorbate 80, and you'll find it in pickles if you go to the store. Common Polysorbate 80, Polysorbate 60, but it's the 80 apparently that is the one that's most effective.
Yeah, I knew a fellow way back that used to sell really good noni noni, the noni stuff from Hawaii, but he didn't pasteurize it or anything. It was like the good stuff. And he said that would people put on their head, and that would grow their hair too. Maybe it's some kind of irritation, like you say, or
it can be nutrients too, because a friend of mine claimed she went to Europe and met a guy and said, you know why Americans lose their head, their scalp is too tight. And you'll feel in the area where there is no hair, it gets really tight. Well, he took his hands and pulled his scalp over his eyes so you couldn't see his eyes.
What?
And he says, I got plenty of hair.
You can't do that. How can you pull your scalp over your eyes?
He did. You can actually find a YouTube video of it, but he did it as a demonstration for her. Because I was interested in hair growth at that point, and she was helping me find ways. And so far, basically, you got to do something, though. You can't just know about it. You have to do something.
You gotta do it.
And I've been short in that department because I see things, I get interested in it, and then something else attracts my attention, and he mounted his horse and rode off in all directions. What can I say?
So do you actually shave your head, or is it just that short all the time?
I actually cut it with a scissor, so it's not completely shaved. Really low. I used to shave it, and it was such a hassle that I got one of these scissors you buy in a pharmacy that actually has, what do you call it? It's used for snipping nose hairs and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I take that little scissor and I go all over my hair and cut it.
That's funny.
Because I do have some hair left. It's just that they once said in a pickup book I read, losing hair does not get chicks, or the balding does not get chicks, but bald does get chicks.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Girls think that the bald is more attractive than, I've read that too, than
halfway. Yeah. So that's when I started shaving my head, when I read that book.
Sure, of course. Here's an email from Ellen. On an earlier show, Adam mentioned that a good way to search using Google is to pretend you're someone else. Can he explain further about how to do that?
Okay, it's a good trick. You pretend you're one of them. Right. See, they're used to what you're looking at. So say the CIA or the FBI or Google or anybody wants to track what you're buying and selling.
Right.
So what I do is to hide my tracks. I go on one place, like what I'm really interested in. Then I start going into totally different things. And so one of the things I found out, if I pretend I'm a wholesaler and I want to buy dangerous chemicals, they say, oh, this guy's okay, and they start to let you in your sites. So I can find out that these chemicals that are used as health food elements are actually used as chemicals, and because they think I'm one of them, and they let me in their sites. Otherwise, they put you in a bubble. They claim it's to help you. Oh, we know what you're interested in, so we'll only give you what you're interested in. Well, then you can't find out the opposite side of the story. So I can pretend I want to know about machine guns, or I want to know about automobiles. I can pretend I'm an automobile mechanic, or whatever I want to find out about. You pretend you're one of them. And best to pretend you're a wholesaler. I'm a wholesaler of dangerous chemicals, and so I'm interested. And the trick is, what is the price? What's the cheapest price I can get on Tylenol or something like that? And they give it to you, and then they give you the information.
So you actually go on these websites and send them emails through their website, pretending you want to buy.
No, I go to the actual site. I just go to the site like I'm looking for it.
No, that's what I mean. You go to the site. Yeah. So then Google knows that you asked how much a barrel of whatever. They know that. And so when you do the searches the next day and later, they think they're that smart. They think you're a wholesaler now just because you want to.
You can fool them. Yeah, no I do it all the time.
No wonder we don't get anything good from Google if they do that.
See, Google is the best search engine of all. Sure. They have everything there, but they don't have it to the average person. It won't come up for them because they think you're a victim. You're buying this stupid product and you're a victim. So withhold it from you. But when you pretend you're one of them, I want to buy it to sell it to these sheep bots. Then they say, okay, here's the prices. We can make you a real deal on this. And then you can find out that fish oil is done by fracking companies, sold by fracking companies, and the chemicals to neutralize them are done by fracking companies, by Monsanto, by DuPont, by these other companies that we have no idea. Monsanto has known about yellow fat disease since the 1960s, and they've been making products to neutralize it. A company shipping fish oil has to have ethoxyquin, a Monsanto product, or its equivalent, by law to ship anything across the ocean. And you don't hear that at all. But if you pretend you're one of them and you want to buy some ethoxyquin or whatever, give me what company has the best deal? Then you find out all the companies. That's why on my yellow fat disease compendium, I've got a lot of those companies listed. You won't find them anyplace else.
And that's how you discover a lot of weird stuff going on, because they think you're one of them. It's interesting.
I found out about InBev by using that same technique within 5 minutes. I asked Vibrant Gal. She was a witness. I said, see, people don't find. They just believe what they see that's in front of them on social media or on Google searches, and they don't go to find out, pretend that they're one of them. And they want to find out how they can make money with them too, or invest in stock. Pretend I want to buy stock in InBev. And then right away they tell you all the good stuff. It's so easy. It takes minutes, while everybody else is, you don't find it. I mean, who else is finding Michael Milken or all these other people, and where they live and what they do and how long they've been in business and etc. It's really easy.
So I'd like to understand, but are you saying that even after one visit to their website, pretending to be somebody else, then Google kind of puts you in their category, a new category?
Nope, they average you out. You got to be doing it a lot. You got to pretend you're one of them a lot. Yeah, it's called social engineering when you use the telephone, but you can use it on Google too. Yeah, and Google, to me, I have a love-hate affair. They give me information that took me in weeks. I can find out what took me years at medical libraries and university libraries and public libraries all over the country. God knows I've had well over 100 library cards and been in so many libraries where I didn't have a library card on a regular, ongoing basis. And now, thanks to Google, so I hate them and I love them. They're nefarious. They're involved with biotechnology and all kinds of things. But by God, you can't get information like that anyplace else in the world. Forget DuckDuckGo and all these other ones. They claim they can compete. They don't have it. They have to go to Google to get what they get.
Yeah. So, and in my understanding, none of them are private, correct? All of them, DuckDuckGo and...
they all know exactly what you're doing forever. Okay. Yeah, they know everything.
Forever. Hey, Brother Duke, would you do me a favor? I would like to go down. I need a little hit of something. This water's not getting it. I want to go downstairs, and I just got some fresh orange juice. I want to get a glass. Okay? Will you?
Sure.
Would you tell folks how orange juice saved your life when I'm going to go?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good story. I'll be right back.
I will tell the story. In fact, if Joe is still listening, the orange juice will build your thyroid quite nicely, too. Okay. I studied with Master Chen in Fayetteville, Texas, and took a workshop. And for the first time in my life, my feet swelled up. So I had like edema. So I was kind of concerned. And then after that, I started getting tingling in my feet, which I thought was my shoes. And it wasn't my shoes at all. It was actually having some kind of edema problem. So fast forward a few years, I'm now in Montecito, hanging out here with Vibrant Gal, and my feet swelled up really large. And then I noticed that my right foot was slightly swollen all the time. And the swelling went down. Then I had a really bad episode where it swelled up like a waste paper basket. And now I thought I was on the way out. At that time, I was eating a can of tuna a night and plus mayonnaise and things I probably shouldn't have been eating along with it. And I heard the term yellow fat disease for the first time from Ray Peat and didn't look it up for a year to see what it was. When I did, I realized that I had yellow fat disease. And here were my symptoms. Edema. I had, if I wiped my butt with tissue, I got blood on it. My gums, if I blotted it, if I put an orange against my gums, blood would come out. I had easy bruising. I had purpura, which are these spots that just start bruising for no reason, plus easy bruising, calluses on the back of my calves, stiff muscles, all kinds of things. So I gave up tuna. I gave up mayo. I did at least 3 or 4 oranges a day at that point. And within a month or two, all of those syndromes went away. I can wipe my butt with sandpaper to this day. This was in 2015. We're talking 8 years now. My right ankle is the same size as my left ankle now. There's no difference between them. And all of these happened just by following that one cherry picking from Ray Peat protocol, because I think he made some mistakes, Patrick, and I even think his recommendation of aspirin could have caused a stroke. I really think that you have to be really careful with aspirin. And a lot of repeaters aren't going to like that, but that's what I think.
So I heard the whole thing because I just turned up the volume when I went downstairs. When you cut out the tuna and all that, is there any way to know the impact of cutting all that stuff out of the OJ? Must have been a combination of both?
You know, I also did kale. So I did a lot of, and like Ray Peat said, to boil the heck out of it, for 2 or 3 hours and then eat it. And so there were multiple things, but so I can't say exactly. I know oranges were one of the things that were very important. Kale, I'm sure, had the K in it. I did more sun. I did red light, things like that. And I'm totally different. I really think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ray Peat. So I have great respect for Ray because he saved my life. Just by finding randomly that thing about yellow fat disease was the main thing. And then I realized I had it.
Boy,
you cannot eat that much tuna. And I was lucky. I bought the cheaper tuna because I didn't have the money to get the water pack. So a lot of it would go into the olive oil, and I figured it was cheap olive oil, so I poured it off and ate the tuna, and a lot of it went in there. I feel guilty. I'm not eating salmon. I need to eat salmon. It's better for me. But I love the red salmon, and that's like $5 a can, and I eat a whole can of it at night.
Sure.
So tuna was costing me at Trader Joe's 99 cents a can, for oil-packed tuna, instead of paying $3 or more for water-packed tuna. So actually not having enough money at the time saved my life, maybe.
Adam Bergstrom, Patrick Timpone, One Radio Network. Stay right there. Let me tell you about a few things that we do here, and you can maybe try some of them. We have a website that's been here since 2008. Adam Bergstrom, who you may know, was the first guest. It was August 6th at 2008. And you can still hear that show on our website. So we have 15 years of audio files. 15 years. Adam's on a lot. Ray Peat, Andrew Goss, Dr. Jennifer Daniels, and all kinds of people over 15 years. That's all there for you. Absolutely no cost. So jump on One Radio Network. If you're watching on video, hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell thing so we notify you when we put up new shows. And consider going to our website. Sharon has a link to our store on video, or if you're on audio, just to our website, and look at some of the products that we promote. We have a great suite of products, everything from the Relax Far Infrared Sauna, the hydrogen machine. I don't talk about that much, man. I really like it too. I need to. hydrogen machine, relax far infrared sauna, Thyroid products. Pine pollen is on sale right now. Use promo code RESTORE or sulfur. People have been buying sulfur for 15 years. I still use it almost every day of my life. We have the air purifier, all kinds of great products. BioAge, it's a wonderful green product, probably one of the best one in the world. Really good stuff. And then you can then donate if you just want to donate some. Oh, and also Fred Jachewski and U.S. Coin Capital. And on Thyroid, they have pine pollen, colostrum, chaga, reishi, elk velvet antler. He has a really cool product now, which is forest, like real ancient kind of trees, walnuts, walnut powder. You can put that in your smoothie, the colostrum in your smoothie. Some really good products. Vitamin D, K2, and digestive bitters. I love that one. This is from Thyroid, digestive bitters. Just oranges and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So you can just do this. Whew. So, good stuff. So thanks for your support. If you see some products in our store that you like, it'd be great. Or just donate, and we'd be happy to take your dollars, and we appreciate it very much. Very, very much.
Know the Source on One Radio Network.
That's a great picture there. How old is that picture? Do you know?
Probably a year or two before I moved here to Montecito. I would guess about 2008, 2009, 2010, somewhere along there. It was taken by my buddy Rico Cavaglia at Ageless Living. He's another guy against or pro longevity. Good friend of mine.
What's his
He's
name?
a drummer, a rock star, and does shows on longevity. Might make a good guest sometime. He's a good guy.
What's his name?
Rico Cavaglia. He's written books on how to make healthy food in 5 minutes.
Oh, cool.
What does he call it? He has those were my favorite books. When I was first introduced to him by a mutual friend, he sent me copies of those books, and those are my favorites. But he's done a lot of shows, and he's done exercise. He's an exercise guy.
Oh, cool.
He used to. He was hired with Jack LaLanne to represent certain companies in different times, and he knew Jack really well. He's known a lot of those stars, and he's had a long history in the San Diego area with fitness and longevity.
Would you send me his website link? And
I sure will.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I haven't talked to him for a long time now, but I can get in touch with him.
That'd be great. So there's more Orwellian stuff coming out on gas stoves. I know that you guys in California are leading the pack, and these people, they want to outlaw gas stoves. Crazy. Gas heating. Crazy.
That would really leave us in the lurch, because when they turn the power off here, which they do it regularly, we just missed my last show. They turned it off the day after we had the show on Wednesday. So Thursday we were out of power. Well, we can't eat. We don't have any. We would not have any hot water, but now because of gas, we have hot water at least where we can wash our hands and do things like that, and do dishes at least while we're not on the internet or using electricity.
Well, in my opinion, that's what this is about. They keep saying it's about saving people money. Come on, they want to control the energy, and they can't control gas because it's harder to control it, right? It's separate from the electrical grid, which they can control. And a lot of people, like I do, have a tank buried under the ground, propane. They can't control that. And they want to outlaw gas stoves because they want to control everything that we do. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? There's no.
They want to even control the sun. You know, they had the tip-off to the rip-off was they baited people. If you get on solar, you can sell it back to us at this price and everything like that. So everybody, including our landlords, went for the bait and they put it in. What a good deal. Then the electrical company realized that they're getting off the grid. So, okay, they made the California legislature change the rules. Now, instead of getting 15, 20% for your electricity, you got 3%. And not only that, but they bill you, they fine you for being for having your own solar deal so that they can sell you. They want to ship it and lose all that electricity in the shipping to your house when they actually have solar good enough that you could be off the grid entirely. Even 10 years ago when people went solar, I told them, don't go for sell them back. Get off completely. Figure other ways to get off, but do not fall for that.
Just disconnect. That's right. Wow. Amazing.
The solar power has increased so much, they're lying about the ingots. I have a friend of mine that's in the industry. I should know. And if you look back, they had solar-powered outhouses in Florida in 1906, for God's sake. Really? It's not hard to even use mirrors. When I was in Bellingham, Washington, I aimed mirrors and warmed up our house with a simple mirror. That's not even an ingot or anything like that. And we had sunshine inside by just moving mirrors. You could make up one with electricity to move the mirror in your house to warm it up. There's so many tricks. Paint your roof black and then put a white over it during the other seasons to go with currents, with airflows and everything like that. You know, they have these air lifts that planes sometimes go in, thermals that you ride up. Well, here, you can walk in a canyon and feel the breeze coming down like a current. It's really warm right there, and then you go past the canyon and you don't get it. Same thing. You build your home appropriately. You aim it certain ways. There are so many ways to live free. They want you to have an expensive car with computer deal. I could buy a car for $125 when I got out of high school, and I did off a car lot. You could buy a car for $25. Try and buy a car now for $25. You can't do it.
Or for $2,500, you can't even buy it for $20. You know, I think that this all this electrical car thing, in my opinion, that's all about the same thing. Because they can control the electricity. Just turn it off. How are you going to charge your car?
Same thing. They want to turn you off, and they want to make it's way more expensive. You could build a car and sell it for $500 to this day. They don't want to do that. They want you to, they don't want middle class people to own things. They want to put you in a 15-minute city and make you a prisoner. And whether you call it a technocracy or a totalitarian society, they want to tell you what to do and replace you with automatism.
Or to be able to fix things too. And I know this is going way back, but you know, our first car I think was my brother and I, 52 Chevy, and it ran fine. It ran as fast as you want to go. You know, you could get air conditioning, you know, separate at the time if you want. I mean, what else do you need? And we used to go down to Western Auto, and if our fuel pump went out, we'd go out and put a fuel pump in. Boom, easy peasy.
Pep Boys too. Remember
Pep Boys?
Pep
Boys. You could change the spark plugs. We had a little thing that did the gauges, the carburetors. We knew how to put a little gas in there to restart it. Put our hand over it. You could do anything. You could roll it down the hill and pop the clutch and start the car. These computers, all it is a bunch of computers, and you can't do anything. It's filled with computers. They don't want you knowing anything about that, because what do you need all these computers for? Does the car go faster down the road? I think it's all just made up crap. I think it's just all made up, just to complicate your life. That's all they want to do. That's all they want to do.
It is, and I can vouch. I had a 52 Chevy. That was my second car, a 52 Chevy. And it's so easy to change the oil, to get underneath it, the transmission fluid. All of that was so simple to do.
We used to pull out transmissions if a car needed a transmission. We didn't. I mean, you could just look under there and see how to do it. I mean, can you imagine doing that today? Oh.
No, yeah. I wasn't a good enough mechanic, but my friends did. In fact, one of my friends became famous. He ended up buying Hot Rod magazine and all that. He was the owner, the editor of that. John Deanna. He was a famous hot rodder, and you can find him. I had relocated him on the internet, but now everybody of my friends that I relocated is dead.
Well, the good old days, babe. You think we'll ever go back there? And I don't know. Maybe there'll be a whole segment of the country that's wants to kind of turn back to the land.
Don't think they realized with the freedom we had. There were no seat belts. There were no. It was a cross seat. You could make out in the seat. You could at the drive-in movie. There were no smog devices. There were none of that stuff. We could. In fact, I have actually played a trick on a friend on the dirt road. I was driving and I jumped out of the car, and he had to jump over on the other side and get a hold of the wheel. I got a road rash on that one, but we would play practical jokes like that. And could you do this today? I had a convertible, and I would be in the back seat doing the wheel, and my friend would be hidden using the brake, and I'd say brake, gas, brake, gas. So here's this guy sitting and standing up in the back seat driving down the highway, and people looking, how is he doing that? We had all kinds of friends, and we would grab a friend and open the trunk and throw him in the trunk and drive off like we were kidnapping people. We did all kinds of things.
I'm sure people are thinking, listen to these guys that have been around forever, giving these old stories. Remember the drive-in movies? 2 or a carload was $5. 2 or a carload, $5.
You bet.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I went to lots of drive-in movies. In fact, I lived next to a drive-in movie, so we snuck over the fence every week. I saw every double feature that came to the Laurel Drive-In Theater, which I lived right practically across the street from.
Those were the days, boy. Life was so simple. And I remember when we were, I can't believe we keep talking like this, but what the hell? When we were kids, I mean, we didn't watch television. I mean, we weren't even allowed to watch television. Maybe we could watch cartoons on Saturday or something like that. That's it. So you went outside and you played ball or played soccer or you built a fort. I don't know. That's what we just did stuff. And now, the kids are on the way home from school. Oh man. No wonder.
I saw 4 teenage girls in San Diego walking down the street side by side, all talking on the phone to other people. 4 of them. Yeah. And I saw a skateboarder talking on a cell phone while he's skateboarding down a hill in traffic.
If there's some little souls listening in heaven who want to come down and be my kid when I have children, which I will, you don't want to come here with me because there'll be no television, there'll be no phones, there's going to be no internet. It's just not going to do it. I'm just not going to be involved. I'm just not going to do it. I don't.
When I was a kid, when I woke up, within 5 minutes I was outside. 5 minutes. I drank. My mother prepared eggnog and orange juice. I drank swig, and out the door. I could drink both of those beverages in less than a minute, and I was out the door. And that was it till she would call I was just to Ingvar Bergstrom Jr., so she would call Junior, Dennis, and we would hear him. We'd be about 4 or 5 blocks away or 6 blocks away. We'd come for lunch, and then we're gone again. And then dinner time, the same thing. We were gone all day. We watched a little bit of TV, maybe a cowboy movie once in a while, but almost never. We loved the outside.
What did you guys do all day?
We played in the swamp. We lived in the New Jersey swamp, and so we went with our hip boots and went through the weeds. We climbed trees, and our big thing: how many bruises can you collect? I've collected and counted in the bathtub as many as 36 bruises. That's was my record.
You gotta love it.
And we thought it was really cool to get bruised.
I thought it was cool too. Yeah.
We would ride bicycles and jump off them, and the bicycles were so good. You could crash them over and over and over again. They still worked. Tried to do that today. Last bicycle I had was when I was at Fayetteville at that ranch. It lasted for a year. It was a quality bicycle, too. 1 year and it broke down.
really enjoy your show this morning with Adam. Thanks for having him on. How you doing with the heat, Patrick? From Helen. We're doing okay. You know, it's spicy out, but God, you know, we have an air conditioner, and you know, I went for 20 years without an 20. I don't know, maybe 22 years without an air conditioner. I've only had an air conditioner as of last year. I did okay.
Of course, we don't really need one here because this is more like a temperate zone because we're right by the ocean. It acts like an air conditioner during the summer and like a heater during the winter. So it's very mild. In fact, Carpinteria, California, right down the street from us, was said to be the most even temperature in the entire United States of any place else. It was so even. And world's safest beach and the most even temperature was like compared to the Garden of Eden.
I'll be done.
And it really is. It's a really great climate here. We get some hot days, but very few. And except for talk about global warming, the one heat wave we had was before I was born. In about 1848, before the Civil War, 140 degrees.
No.
100, actually more. Birds fell out of the sky. Fishermen passed out. Cows died and were cooked by the sun.
140?
They forget about that.
140 before the Civil War in California?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a record for the entire United States until finally Death Valley in the 1930s surpassed it by 1 degree. Yeah, it was called God, I forget what they call that type of phenomena. It's a very rare phenomena, but it got 140 degrees. And we had a local writer, write about that because he was dissing carbon dioxide. Dissing our fixation with getting rid of carbon dioxide and saying, look, that heat was back there. And as for floods, there was a harbor by the Santa Barbara airport. That's not there anymore. It was filled in by a flood, a giant flood, bigger than the one we had here in 2017.
Yeah, this whole thing is nuts.
It's all made up. It's so amazing that people can fall for this hooey.
I know. Oh,
I just don't get it.
And you know, it's driving everything, this Green New Deal, right? Because if you put that at the top of the list, then you get all this stuff, gas stoves, electric cars, pay for this. You know, it's all about control. Control. We just want to control you. And there are millions of people believe that man made the earth warmer now. I mean, they really believe it. I mean, I'm serious.
Well, here's the funny thing. The coal has actually affected the climate in a good way.
Really?
It's made the deserts are starting to green again. They don't tell you that, but they're not going to now. If you cut the carbon down to the degree that they want, there's no life on Earth possible. So it's a fiction. It's a total fiction. We die without carbon dioxide because it starts us breathing and it makes vegetables grow.
Yeah.
You don't get any vegetables without carbon dioxide. What are they thinking?
That's the part that I keep missing. So it's really about the food supply too, not only, right, to control us, but then to cut down the amount of food so we'll eat their bugs or whatever they want.
Want to cut it down. And we listen to a guy now. I always tend to pick the unpopular causes. Gary Matsuoka, he says that you don't need compost. Compost kills plants. And see, they make it more complicated, like you got to do all these things. All you need is dirt, and the best thing to grow something in it is beach sand. All you need is beach sand with no organic matter in it, maybe a little fertilizer on top provided by fallen leaves off the plant itself, and you get a plant. You don't need all these complicated combinations and everything like that at all.
What's his name?
And it's true. Dirt is what things grow in. They grow in glass. You can grow food in spun glass.
What's his name?
His name is Gary Matsuoka. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but I'll send you a link to the
send
guy.
me a link. Let's check him out.
And he said academia has taken over, that you need compost. He said compost, like tomatoes will grow in compost. They'll grow
anywhere.
Pure chicken manure because they've been bred that way. But if you take tomatoes and you plant them a second time, they won't do well because they have their dead relatives in there, the roots. And the third one, they won't grow at all. You can't get them. They'll all die because he compared it to a plant. Plants don't eat plants. If you put the same plant in there, it would be like, if I have a fish in my kitchen, great. If I have a mammal in my kitchen, okay. If I have an insect in my kitchen, fine. But if I have my dead grandma in the kitchen, you think I'm going to put up with that? Well, plants feel the same way. That's my dead relatives. But if you take a plant of a different type, like not related to a tomato, they will be okay. You can grow any other plant because they regard it the same way. It's not related to my species, so I don't care. I don't care about humans. I'll grow on humans even, but I'm not going to grow on my own relatives.
Change out my battery here. I'll talk to you while I change out my battery. Yeah, we did some shows with a fellow by the name of Don Jansen. I think, I don't know, 12 years ago, a long time ago. And he did a thing, Adam, where he just had rocks in a big raised bed, just rocks, from like little pebbles and stuff. And then he would fill it with ocean water, not pure ocean water, but ocean water diluted to a certain level. I think it was about, I think it's about 1,200 parts per million, TDS meter, 1,200, something like that. You can listen to the shows on One Radio Network. And he would just flood that thing and put the plants in there, small plants you'd buy, and it would just, and these things would go crazy. There was no soil, there was no fertilizer, there was just ocean water, and it was crazy. I mean, really good stuff. He would sell it down in Florida.
They even have aeroponics where you grow things in midair. So how does that happen? Because the major food of plants are carbon dioxide and oxygen. They need oxygen for their roots, and they need to survive. They breathe like we do, but then they make carbon dioxide for their food and their protein and their sugars and everything else they make. So they just need a minimum of minerals, of potassium and phosphorus and all of that, supplied by the very leaves that fall on the plant. In the forest, you don't fertilize it, and they don't. If you don't have all that compost, you cannot overwater a plant. That's a new concept. When you have a nursery now, they put a tag, do not overwater, especially avocado trees. Right. Avocado trees, if you don't use compost or recycled forest products, which mean wood chips, you have no problem. An avocado tree can, unless you add the compost, it won't die. Then you get sour gases. When you get that black soil, you are getting basically sewerage and sewer gases, and you suffocate the plants and the roots by overwatering, because that's where they get their oxygen, and they can't get it because the sewerage is oxidized and takes it away. So all the nurseries in the world practically claim that you need recycled wood products to grow your things in. One of the reasons nurseries don't sell sand, though, you ever see how much sand weighs?
Yeah,
it's
really.
the perfect soil, but it weighs a lot more than wood chips for sure. So that's why they sell the wood chips, because now peat and volcanic ash light and some of those things are good soils too, because you don't want organic stuff in the soil. You want to feed them the organic stuff. You want inorganic. Dirt is inorganic. It's sand, silt, and clay. They're all basically quartz, all of them, with a little bit in the clay, some other mixtures. And even clay, which supposedly will drown a plant, they will be overwatered. No way, unless you add compost. You add a certain amount of compost, you need a little fertilizer, like in professional farming, they use less than 1% to fertilize all that soil. They don't need, some nurseries sell 50% fertilizer. You're supposed to grow it in their dead relatives. And of course, plants don't survive in it. But we're taught over and over again to academia, the colleges perpetuate this myth.
And then CO2, of course, now is the devil. And, we got to do that. We got to do the CO2 thing, Ray Pete stuff someday, don't we? We're going to do that. We're going to figure out how to Did you see the
Well,
suit?
we
I
bag
sent you
breathe
the
regularly. It's a way to protein. If you want to build muscles, bag breathe. Do it at night, though, because what Repeat didn't say, you have a slight danger of having a heart attack by using too much carbon dioxide during the day. It's a minor danger, but why take a chance? Carbon dioxide is much more active at night and healthier for you from actually 10 at night till 10 in the morning. It's carbon dioxide bag breathing time.
Okay. So 10 at night, 10 in the morning, just breathe carbon dioxide, and it's going to help me build more muscle if I do that a lot?
It builds muscles, yeah.
Really?
See, here's the funny thing. If hydrogen creates pH and acidity, where's the hydrogen in carbon dioxide? But it's an acid. It makes you acidic and makes you build muscle.
So acidity helps you build muscle, right? Acidity?
Acidity. The proper acidity, yeah. And in most cases, full body acidity makes you the acidity you measure in your urine, your saliva, and all of that. That's bogus. That's not in you anymore. It's out of you. Even the blood is not technically in you. It's out of you. It's part of the oxygenation system coming in and coming out that supplies our cells inside the cell and in the interstitial fluid and the lymphatics. So those are bogus measurements. The only thing the blood will tell you if your body is in total danger of over-acidity because it's so overloaded now it affects the blood. Otherwise, it's so buffered by the blood that you don't have to worry about pH until you get a disease or a stress or a problem or an illness.
Adam Bergstrom, a few more emails and we'll go have lunch or something. I would like to ask Adam for helpful suggestions how to get rid of tendencies for kidney stones, calcium. Okay. Are kidney stones too much calcium or?
They're actually, one time when I was doing written newsletters, and one day maybe I'll reproduce them, I found over 20 reasons you can get kidney stones, including cranberry juice. That's a very rare one, fortunately. Most people drinking cranberry juice aren't going to get it, and sometimes it can help. But the real secret is to keep the bladder flowing. In our society, they tell you to hold. Don't go to the bathroom until you have specific times at your break, and people tend to hold it. Well, that's one of the major causes of kidney stones. Primitive people had kidney stones, but they would just urinate right on the spot. Well, one of the major tricks that I do, I go to the bathroom, and I'm done urinating? No, I'm not. All you have to do is massage around the bladder, and you'll be surprised. You can get another 4 ounces or more of pee out like that. Yeah. That's the stuff that sits and causes either the uric acid, the calcium phosphate, or the various type of stones, the infectious type, which is another way we get them. And as long as you keep it clear, you're getting rid of it. It doesn't matter if you have oxalates, if you have phosphates, whatever you have. It's not going to make a difference. If you squeeze them out, and that's how you do it.
And where's the bladder?
Yeah, just massage the bladder.
Where is it? Where do we find it?
Oh, if you press on the pubic bone right above it, which happens to be a bladder neurolymphatic point too, you automatically find it. And often, surprisingly, because we're used to pooping out of the left side of our body through where the descending colon is, but I find a lot of times by massaging on the right side of my bladder, it makes me go to the bathroom.
Oh, I can't get the camera down, but it's just the pubic bone. I'm feeling
actually
it now.
On top of the pubic bone.
And that's where the bladder is, right there.
You can also massage the pubic bone itself or neurolymphatic points, but if you go and kind of press under the pubic bone and around the sides of it, automatically you start. Also reflexes. You go around the belly and things like that, and it will actually reflex to the bladder. And if you massage your scalp, you can go to the bathroom through a reflex. If you look at our head, this is a big bladder. My head is a big bladder. And what are your ears? The kidneys. And what are the Eustachian tubes? The ureters that connect the kidneys to the bladder. And what is the esophagus? The urethra. There it is. Humerus. We have a bladder with kidneys and all above, and we have one below. As above, so below.
So, well, I probably should have dropped my drawers and really showed everybody where it was, and then maybe the AI girl would call me, you know.
It pays to advertise, Patrick.
That's right.
You're going to have a lot of love letters come in.
Come
Be
on,
careful.
you know, what are you gonna... Okay, here's an email. What are the safest foods to gain much needed weight for a type 2 diabetic? Okay, type 2 diabetic, we could talk about that, but then he wants to do what kind of foods because he needs to gain some weight, right?
Well, a type 2 diabetic, though, that's a whole subject in itself
Sure.
that I could go into. But what you basically need is carbohydrates. And if you feel bad about eating those simple sugars and things like that, you can simply add butter and make sure the carbohydrates are well cooked. They will actually add muscle mass because most of muscle mass is actually fat and gas and sugar in there. There's surprisingly little protein. Now, you need good proteins. If you're a meat eater, it's pretty obvious that you can have a beef or organ meats and things like that, and even a dry fish, not a dried fish, but oilless type of fish like cod and things like that, and just eating enough of it, and then also when you work out at the gym, drink cold liquids while you work out, and you'll expand your muscle and get it to hold the blood in the muscle longer, which causes more muscle growth.
Before you work out, the cold water. Before you work out, before.
Yeah, cold water. I once experimented with that and found out by going to the gym and coming back from the gym and drinking 8 ounces of water or less, 6 ounces, I could gain 5 pounds. Now, that's supposed to be impossible. So something else is going on in pressurization. But then you can yawn and fart it away. You can do that. But the trick is you now get the muscle inflated. You basically extend what's called the muscle pump, where it's filled with blood. And the blood there keeps feeding the muscles and cleaning the lactic acid out, so you're going to get more rest. Yeah. So automatically by holding it, though you will get a weight gain, it's kind of deceptive, but you hold it in there, and then you can yawn and stretch afterwards and clear out the muscles so that you can get new growth. And then carbon dioxide is acidic, of course, doing what we were talking about, bag breathing will help. And don't overwork. Some people overtrain. Some people can do it. I have known people that trained 8 hours a day and they had no problem. But most people, if they overtrain, they tend to break down too much muscle and get too much lactic acid.
I like I get a really cost-effective Italian just mineral water, and it's got the naturally carbonated, the bubbly things. I really like that. Is that good, the bubbly, naturally carbonated?
Not really, but it's not really harmful. It doesn't, see, how come carbonated water alkalizes you, but carbon dioxide acidifies you? It's a mystery there. And Ray Pete never successfully answered that. Now, he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to belabor that point. But I've always wondered about that. There is actually hydrogen and other things in either baking soda or carbonated beverages, and it alkalizes you. I mean, what's his name? Simoncini? He wrote books about how to work on cancer by alkalizing.
Naturally carbonated water, and let's assume that it really is naturally and they don't do it. That's a big assumption. It's okay, though. It's just not going to hurt you. I mean,
I don't think it hurts people. I think sometimes when you see people addicted to carbonated beverages, it's usually a grief issue that they have.
Okay.
If they're addicted to sugar issues, it's often they're not doing well enough, you'll find out, because it affects the different valves in the stomach. The one affects the upper valve, the cardiac valve, and one the pyloric valve when you're not doing well enough. That's your power chakra versus your heartbreak chakra. So you find that. But if you take it occasionally, what's the deal? It's not going to hurt anybody. And even can really give you a boost if you're a marathon runner. To alkalize yourself to keep the lactic acid at bay. So it can actually help.
Carson writes, pals are having fun with your male-female side energies. Wild to see how true it is. Now we're geeked to clear some trauma. What are the steps to do that? Okay, they're geeking out. They're nerding out on clearing trauma. Now that they figure out the left side is the male, you want some tips on that. Okay, good question.
Learn to mind hack, but there are other ways. Say a person doesn't know what the trauma is. When we say we're under pressure, we are under pressure. We're under pounds per square inch of pressure, 14.7 pounds at sea level. So what you want to do is release the excess pressure in the body. There's only two main orifices to do that: the oral way and the southern way. So you either have flatus or farts and get rid of it that way, or you get it through this way. By yawning and stretching, and particularly slow yawning, if you yawn above 7 seconds, you build up carbon dioxide in a good way that helps you build muscle. If you get carbon dioxide in your intestines, you get gas. So you don't want it down south. That's another problem with drinking too many carbonated beverages. You get too much down south. As long as you're having flatus, gas, farts, whatever,
that's fine.
You're clear of that. But anyway,
so
building
trauma.
muscle, carbohydrates, protein, and acidify yourself, which is an anabolic effect of acidifying yourself. Total body acidity I'm talking about, not stomach acidity or splenic acidity or cellular acidity. Total body.
But Carson was asking mostly about trauma, so let's address that. And so how does he clear these traumas out? Did we go there?
Yeah, again, the yawning and stretching. Okay. Otherwise, the only way you really know is to find out what the specific trauma is.
Right.
And that would what mind hacking for the millions does. You get a specific trauma, and it can be so dramatic, because this is the most dramatic thing that's ever happened to me when doing mind hacking. I'm going to repeat the story. A woman came to me that was dying of a disease. I don't even remember what they diagnosed her with. And it turned out that during the session they came out that she had actually forgotten that her father had abused her, and that she got pregnant and had an abortion. She did not remember the sex, she did not remember the pregnancy, she did not remember the abortion. When she did, she was miraculously cured of her disease and lived for 7 or 8 years more. I lost track of her. I don't know what she finally did die of. But she had been given 1 month to live when I worked on her. That's how important traumas can be, and that's the most serious kind. But if it's important to a person, it's important. One time I worked on a lady who had lost her son in a fatal accident, and her husband divorced her after that, and she cried and cried and cried. Then I worked on my second client with someone who had lost a boyfriend that she had only known for 3 months, and she's sobbing her eyes out. And that's when I realized it's the same thing. Something about survival makes this one person just as threatened by losing this boyfriend as this woman who lost her son, actually lost him physically in death, and then her husband divorced her too. Wow. So if it's important to you, the thing is to detach yourself from the person and divert yourself onto other happy things. In other words, be happy, watch comedy movies, and do a lot of yawning and stretching. But by knowing the specific thing, often just knowing exactly what the moment of trauma was will get rid of the trauma. By knowing the instant, like being sexually molested, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, not all of us are sexually molested, have that type of trauma. But I'll tell you, Patrick, I was amazed how many women are sexually molested. Since I became a therapist, I was blown away, and how serious people have traumas that they look perfectly healthy. You know, before I was into being a therapist, I walked down the street. Why, everybody's healthier than I am. And then I told them what I do. Hey, by the way, what do you do for this and that? And they'd give me a list of things they've had surgeries for and serious diseases. And at first it blew my mind. Now I'm used to it, that the people out there that look so healthy aren't necessarily healthy.
Yeah, wow. So these women that have been sexually molested, the ones, I don't know the percentage, you can put that actually know that they have been and they just haven't dealt with it, or how?
A lot of them know about it. In that case, she didn't know about it. She totally
Okay.
repressed it, which made it a life and death issue. You know, I came across one woman that she was watching me do a session on a friend, and I realized she really wanted the session herself. And so she told me something about, so we arranged a session. I looked at her foot, and there's a certain kind of foot. I'm not going to reveal it. I'll tell you later, but not to the audience because they're going to they have problems with it. There's a type of foot that shows that a woman's going to have an abortion, that they're subject to either a spontaneous one or orchestrated one. And so I saw it in this person. So I grabbed a hold of her feet and I said, have you had a problem with a relationship? And she said, not really. My boyfriend and I get along pretty well. And then I said, I'm talking about a former relationship. And she tightened up on the left side, like that. And she said, yes, but it's too embarrassing and I can't tell you about it. I said, it doesn't matter. I already know about it. But the point is you want to get rid of it. And when she realized I knew, then she told me, I found out I had 3 abortions and 1 child, and my mother had 1 abortion and 3 children, and I'm inverse. So anyway, it was a really weird trauma, but I told even before I started mind hacking. But mind hacking, when I mentioned the former relationship, her left leg became like a 2x4. It just locked up totally. Wow. So I've had a lot of women who actually had that trauma. They often blame, when they have an abortion, by the way, or when they're seduced by the father, they blame the mother. 9 out of 10 times. I found that out before I talked to standard psychotherapists who said, yeah, we know that already. But I found it on my own without having to read it in a book or go to an expert. So that's the beauty of mind hacking. You find out things that I found out quite a few things on the person's feet that I found out later reading in the book to validate it. It's always good to get backup information to make sure you're not full of beans.
Well, I hope they're organic beans that's been soaked and sprouted if they are.
One quick synchronicity, Patrick. You mentioned cilantro. And I just wrote on Facebook, and Joe might listen to this, I just wrote on Facebook yesterday a quote that I found from Madonna Lay that I didn't remember. Cilantro is good for gas.
It is. Really. It's good. Oh, interesting. Okay, final one. Then we'll have lunch. Now that I'm all juiced up. This is Ronnie in Florida. Really enjoy your show with Adam. I'm 65. I don't have hardly any wrinkles. I'm lucky, but I've got eye bags that'll beat the band. I don't know what that means. I guess a big one, eye bags. Does Adam know the cause and the cure of bags under the eyes? This comes up from time to time. Have you ever figured it out?
It could be dropped stomach. When there are actual bags coming out there, it could be actually dropped stomach. The stomach tends to, as people age, quote unquote, they tend to drop their organs and prolapse them. And this is a stomach meridian right here.
Where?
The reason people wake up right here at the underneath the eye.
That bone with the bone there?
Yep, right at the bone level.
That's a stomach meridian.
That's why when people wake up in the morning, what do? They rub right into that eye there to get their appetite stimulated.
Okay.
So there's a definite reflex over there. Now, one thing you can do mechanically is do headstands, shoulder stands to get the blood into that area and get it to raise up. And actually, if you can get blood circulation in there, you could even take niacin. I'd be careful how much you use, but ways to get blood circulation in there to reactivate the tissue. And it's a sign of general tissue weakness. So bag breathing at night could actually help that too. So
Ron, so if he goes inverted, the blood will go into where the bags are? What's in the bags now? Just water or who knows?
Well, they just start to hang because they're not used. So a lot of times they actually tell you don't do facial exercises because it'll make wrinkles. Not true.
Not true.
What you do is, like freeform dancing, you do freeform facial expressions. We tend to do certain facial expressions. So start watching Jim Carrey, other comedians, and make all these different faces, and you'll actually strengthen the muscles. If you do the same exercise over and over, like punch your jaw over and over, you're going to get wrinkles, yeah. But if you do all different type of exercises, yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. And you have fun doing it, too. It's a lot of fun. Kids do it all the time.
It strengthens all the muscles when you do that, right?
It strengthens the muscles and gets them evenly balanced. It's not just, you get a muscle rut by doing this. So in the gym, the trick is to go this way, slightly this way, slightly that way, all these different angles. You never get a muscle rut or a cramps and things of that nature, and you don't get wrinkles.
So Ronnie does inversion, is going to get the blood into the area that's just kind of hanging there. And those are the bags, right?
It's going to take maybe years of doing that. It's going to take years to get there, so it might take it. But sometimes you'd be surprised.
I've often heard that this area, under the eye, is the kidneys. Is that true?
Well, it's kidneys, it's stomach. It actually can be involved with gallbladder and bladder too, but kidney is one of the places. Is that I would say liver is more involved with it though.
Really?
And also some of it, it's a thinning of the cellular walls. So as it thins, you can see the blood through there. So you want to thicken that tissue, and one way is to regular massage when you get the black circles. The bags that hang down, that's more related to prolapse type issues, and you can do reflexes to the eyes in various places. Remember we talked about the face being a bladder, so you can actually work down in that area to actually help it too. Headstands, shoulder stands, those kind of things help quite a lot.
Are you talking about like these little things that you can feel on the eye socket?
You can
on the eye
pinch
socket?
them,
right?
Loose flesh. People get plastic surgery for it, and that's one way, but it's better to do natural methods if you can. You could mesmerize yourself, self-mesmerize yourself to make them go away too. And then also you could find out who's the matter, because everything I've found, no matter what, is always connected to a who. And I can't say that the who caused that or this caused that, but I know they're always connected. So it's good to break the link between the who and what that's about.
How in the heck
you
would
could
you
have
know
a mother
who's-
say, someone could have criticized someone. Oh, look, they have bags under your eyes, and then you say, yeah, they do, and then you get them. Karma. So it can be something as simple as that.
But so you would need another person to do the feet thing and the mind hacking to find out who's the matter, right?
Yep. And there's another trick. Just like you can fool Google, we tend to forget that we are multiple people, and we dream that we're one person. And actually, we can be billionaires, we can be winos, we can be anything we want. We can change our personality. So if you study acting, look how some actors do so well. That's the same actor in that same movie. I didn't recognize him. There are some actors that are so good at those personality changes, and it actually helps your health, because then you can have the survival instincts of this person, and under another circumstances, this person. You can be a ship captain, you can be an airplane pilot, you can be a skier, you can have all these personalities. One time when I was taking workshops from, don't even remember his name now, he told us to, when you go out traveling next time, when someone asks what you do, make up something.
Yeah.
So I did. I went, what are you? I'm a plumber. You're a plumber? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. So I had to kind of fake it. And that woman to this day in the 1970s, probably still, if she's still alive, thinks I'm a plumber. That she met a plumber on the plane.
It's interesting about the
Sam
the
Keene. That was the guy I took the workshop. Remember Sam Keene?
Yep. Sam Keene. Well, kid, what do you think? 3 hours? I guess people have had enough of us for 3 hours, yeah?
Time to drink more coffee in my big coffee cup here.
Do you drink a lot of coffee?
Yeah, I do. I drink, they say 5 cups a day is the best, so I do 5 cups a day.
Is that right?
Most of it in the morning.
Do it black, just black, or do you put cream or?
Oh no, I put sugar in it. Now,
Sugar.
and when we can get cream, we're going to the market every 2 weeks now. We get whole raw cream, and so I put it in there too. Vibrant Gal especially, she puts a lot of cream in it.
It's you get that raw cream in coffee or even a little green tea. It's just like heaven, right?
Good stuff. Yeah, we buy a quart of cream every 2 weeks. We go through whole cream. Ray Pete liked low-fat milk, not me, man. I like the fat.
I never did get that why he did that.
Weight.
I never did question him on it, of course, because he was Ray Pete, and who am I to question him? So, but I never, he would say this low-fat, and I never got that. I never got the idea behind that.
Me either.
Fat is good, right?
I also noticed something. I was a milkman briefly. For weird reasons, I became a milkman to experiment with it. And we were told that if a person's out of town for just a couple of days, you can leave cream on their doorstep, but never leave low-fat or no-fat milk on because it'll spoil. And that affected me at that point because Donald Lay said the worst milk you can drink is the low-fat milk. You want it with the fat in because the lactic acid is actually in the part that isn't the fat. But as long as you're getting the fat, that's the whole purpose of ghee. It's total butter fat.
It's just butter fat, right?
I questioned Ray Pete about that. And again, he's not here to defend himself, so I don't want to pursue it.
And to Ray Pete's credit, somebody sent me a picture. I think it was one of the hippie food stores around the country where they have corn chips, organic corn chips with nixtamalized corn and cooked in avocado oil. Now, I would buy that. I would, just for fun. If you wanted to have a chip, But I haven't been able to find. I keep looking at all the hippie food stores I go to, so that'd be fun to try that just for fun, huh?
A lot of them they do. When you buy corn tortillas and things like that, you'll see that there are definitely. They don't use that word, but they use a calcium product on it to do it. Yeah, so you can find them, and I've eaten my share of those. So Ray Pete, we follow a lot of what he said. Don't get me wrong. We've cherry-picked some things and criticized certain things like we always do. You never disagree. You never agree totally with the person. But he saved my life. And he also helped me save some other people's lives, too. So all credit to Ray Pete.
And I miss him. I miss him, too. You're going to get me crying. He just, there was something sweet and gentle about him, that was just such a pleasure to talk to him. How often did we have him on? Was it about a year or so? Did we have a year? Maybe. I don't know. Was it? I don't even remember. Me, I don't do time, so I don't keep track of those things. I don't know.
You first had him on in 2015, I think, the first one. Then you started getting him regular for a couple of years at least.
Was
2 or 3 years?
Wow.
I think it was. It was a long time.
Yeah. I remember the day I emailed him. I said, people really like you. Would you come on once a month? And he just writes back one word, yes. That was it. He
was so easy to get along with. Yeah. By the way, people don't realize he recommended my compendium, my Yellow Fat Compendium.
Did he really? Oh, cool.
But he didn't give the name because at that point when I sent it to him, he thought it was a manuscript. So there's a show with 2 women on. He says, someone wrote a book about it. I've got the manuscript, and I'll get you the name. But he never did get back to him. Or if they did, I don't know about it. But that's what I sent him. He thanked me very much, and we did communicate by email on certain questions. And I wish I'd communicated more now, looking back.
Yeah.
It was so easy to access, so accessible. I heard stories about people who had diseases that he talked to daily to help them, for free. He didn't even charge.
He never even thought about charging anybody.
The guy was amazing.
What a wonderful man.
You talk about philanthropy. That guy was a philanthropist. Ray Pete just loved him. Miss him.
How long did he have his body before it left? He's about 85 years?
He was 86. He made it to 86, so that's a pretty good record.
Pretty good
He had a lot of stress in his life, too, that he went through. He was a logger. He was all these other things before that. And imagine being under pressure by everybody criticizing him because he was against just about everything there was. That takes a lot of energy, sucks energy out of a body. To know that your tribe doesn't like you, that the mass of humanity hates your guts, and that you only have a small circle of friends. It weighs on you.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
After him telling us about nixtamalization that he learned in Mexico, I found a place online where you can get organic yellow corn nixtamalized, and I bought some of that. And I don't do a lot of carbs, but every now and then I really feel like a carby thing. So I'll cook this nixtamalized corn with a lot of butter, some olive oil. It reminds you when you were a kid eating cream of wheat, or, really, nourishing in a very spiritual way. It's like, really, what's the word? Just nourishes the emotions when you have those kind of warm cereals,
They're good. I've spent time down in Yelapa, Mexico with my friend Cristina Ponzo, who one time operated and may still be operating the only solar restaurant in the world. But she would get her tortillas. They would bash them on the rocks and make them all. The woman would make them right there by hand,
Whoa.
So we got really good tortillas down there.
It's really interesting what you said, and I want to just bring it up before we go. This idea with the carbs that everybody are so down on these days, but when you do really a lot of butter with them, it makes them happy, right? The body really likes them. So if you're going to eat potatoes, have a lot of butter with them.
Because there is an effect. If you particularly eat undercooked starch, it can get into your arteries and your capillaries and give you a stroke.
Not good.
That is actually true. You'll find that information on the internet, because when Ray Peat first said that, it sounded so astounding. The research has been done. But just simply by cooking it well and adding butter as your insurance policy, it ain't going anyplace. It will not get into your capillaries.
It ain't going anyplace. And that's what the butter does. It just
That's what the butter does. Or olive oil for people who don't like butter. There might be someone allergic to it. But butter is our best choice. We take both olive oil and butter.
Not long ago, I found some of those organic red potatoes, about this big, and I just have a toaster oven because my big oven doesn't work. I don't have the budget to get it fixed. So I just put it in the toaster oven. I think at about, 300 degrees. And I cooked them suckers for about 3 hours, and man, they were good. You know what I mean? They were really good. How do you know when they're dexturized, when you're really smashy? You can...
Yeah, if you do it without, if they're well done and you do it without foil, they're dextrinized. Yeah.
Are they?
And they're super ways. Now, there's something called protein coagulation, even better, but you got to leave your oven on 24 hours a day to do it at 200 degrees. It's just not practical, and our landlords would probably evict us if we did something like that, because their electric bill would go up so much. So we don't do that.
It would be fun if you had a big gas stove that was so, it's hard to find, but you could set it at 200. Most of them you can't set it that low. It'd be good if you had a gas stove, you could do it 200, wouldn't it be?
That's an advantage on gas stoves, right? You can't. You have to be careful setting the gas stove low.
I don't think you could do it that low. I don't think the thermometer lets you do it that low. Maybe 300.
No, you would have to have some kind of a divider between the pan to, like, a kind of a warmer thing to do it. Yeah, you would need a electric oven for dextrinization purposes, for that low a temperature, definitely. Yeah. But you could do it. Do you realize how hot it can get in glass in the sun? You could actually. That's how the Essenes invented dextrinization. They put it out in the sun, and it dextrinized automatically when it gets up to 180 to 200 degrees in the direct sunlight.
It's going to be 105. I could just put some potatoes in a mason jar.
In a upside down fishbowl or something, and just put the glass and put black paper underneath it, and it'll be dextrinized at least at 200, maybe more. You can actually cook meat making a plastic box with plastic and then black paper. They have instructions how to make it for like $15 a solar oven, and they have really good solar ovens, tube forms, all kinds of things. You can cook meat. And that's for free. We could save money by just doing that with it. Put an oven in your back. And it has nothing to do with the temperature. It's the direct rays of the sunlight. So if you're in Wisconsin and you can get the direct sunlight on it, you can cook just as fast as you can in the heat of California or Mexico.
Really? So it's not so hot outside. It's actually the rays of the sun that's cooking the
It's the
meat.
radiation that cooks it, not the temperature. People have trouble. I was confused about that myself for a long time. I thought it needed the heat. The radiation makes a different type of heat than your heat that you get from sitting in the shade or in the house when it gets hot. It's direct sunlight that irradiates to you, like when you go to a fireplace or you ever go to restaurants and then that heat beams at you. When it's cold and you're warm. That's the type of heat that a glass oven like that is using.
Have you ever cooked the potatoes outside in the sun? I wonder how long it takes.
A long time ago, when I had a girlfriend who was into solar ovens, but this is the 80s. I'm talking a long time since. But we've talked about doing it. We have. Our sun axis is kind of squirrely here. We get a lot of shade, which is good during the summer, not so good during the winter. But we're not doing it here because we eat a lot of raw food too.
Yeah, I guess like anything, you would just tell when the potato's done. You would just, it's got to
pretty much stick a fork in it and it's done. Barbara Gal's an expert. She's been doing, she was raised in Hungary where they were raised on potatoes, and she's been loving them ever since. I was raised in New Jersey on potatoes. I've been loving them ever since. And I'm not worried about deadly nightshades. My favorite vegetables are tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, cayenne pepper, all deadly nightshade. Even goji berries. A lot of people don't realize that goji berries are deadly nightshades.
Oh, they're nightshades
deadly
too.
Nightshades.
Yeah.
They are.
Where did that whole nightshade thing come from? I mean, that's been around forever, right? People think
they do have a different breathing pattern than others. Supposedly, the plant will release so much carbon dioxide at night that people fell asleep in the fields and didn't wake up.
Come on.
That's the story, and I can't validate that, but that's the story. And so it got a reputation as being that, and they what did they call the tomato was called the poison apple or something like that originally.
Apple?
People were afraid in America. I think it was Jefferson or Washington that first started eating tomatoes, and the greater population didn't do it until some guy went in front of some government building in Washington, D.C. on the step and ate a whole bunch of tomatoes. And they sat around waiting for him to die. And when he didn't die, the tomato caught on. And now we have tomato ketchup, we have tomato everything. It's one of the best-selling vegetables in the entire world. We get most of them from China now.
Oh, good.
Italian tomato sauce comes from China, both indirectly through China. 2/3 of it, 1/3 of it sold to China. Chinese tomatoes through China, and then directly. And the one directly is 55% non-tomato, and a lot of soy and additives. So be careful of anything coming from China. And the United States does a little better. California has another third of it, but they do things that might not be too good. Better to grow your own tomatoes or know the source, as you always say.
Know the source. Yeah, boy.
Know the source.
A couple of times I've visited Italy and tasted some of their tomato. You go to these little restaurants and they just make them. They just make the sauce right there. Whoa. Unbelievable.
They come from South America, but the Italians, give them credit.
They figured the tomato thing
mastered the tomato.
They got that tomato thing, baby. And pizzas, oh my God.
I don't eat them now because of the melted cheese, but I used to eat a lot of them.
But the pizzas in Italy are very, very little cheese. Not like this country, not like Shakey's and Pizza Hut, where it's this blob of cheese. In Italy, it's a lot of fresh herbs and some tomatoes and a little bit they'll grate some cheese, kind of thing, Parmesan, and real nice crust. Yeah, not a lot of cheese.
Yeah,
not a lot of
not
cheese.
like here.
That's
I
an
worked at
American
Shakey's.
thing. Yeah,
I got fired because I didn't do the dishes fast enough. Ultimately, Hey, they don't clean dishes in restaurants, so I'm scrubbing these giant pots, and they wanted me to just
Oh,
brush them and
God.
throw them aside. But
Oh, God.
so be it.
Well, so be it. You guys going to have fun today? What are you going to do? Anything fun? More fun?
Research is one of the things. We're on the computer. We'll get maybe a little sun, do things like that. Trash day. We have some chores to do, but
Chores?
otherwise, we both love to research. Vibrant Gal's on the computer over there. I'm on this one, and this one over here. And she's got two computers too, and she's running a business. It isn't going too well now because people don't want to rent places anymore. They have too many restrictions. But Vibrant Gal's original job was renting villas to people. And
Villas?
she now gets occasional business, but they've done all kinds of, the in crowd has pushed her out of business. And in Mexico, forget it, the cartels have basically put that out of business.
So is this separate from the, what's that thing where they go, the housing? What do they call that? You know what I mean? Where you go online and you find a apartment or a house in some city. What's that very famous?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like a bed and
bed.
What is it called? Something like that. I forget the name of that, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But this is separate.
Hey,
She does.
that's become illegal in Santa Barbara, by the way, to do that.
Oh, good.
Because they don't want. They want people to stay in the hotels.
Oh.
A Motel 6 costs over $400 a night here. A Motel 6 in Santa Barbara. It's out of control.
Somebody just called, wants to talk to you before we go. Hello, who's this?
This is Sean and Sharon up in Seattle. You guys are just making me hungry here, kids.
Sean
I tell you.
and Sharon, come on. What you doing, guys?
I just sent you guys a picture of our beef we just butchered on our way out of town.
Well, let me see. Whoa! Look at that sucker.
Oh man, we
look
got
at the size of you. I wish I could put this on. You should see the. Whoa!
Oh, grass fed, grass finished.
Did you buy that whole thing?
Oh yeah, I'm buying two of them. I figured out this last year because when you started going carnivore, I'm like, oh, let's try that, and we're just okay. So, I was raised, we grew our own everything, and so then I was like, let me figure out how much steak we bought here this last year. Eating one steak a day and whatnot, and
right.
$10,000 is what I spent on steak this last year.
Whoa! No kidding, $10,000.
$10,000.
That's
I'm like,
crazy.
Okay, I'm like, okay, that's it. I gotta get. I kept saying it. You keep saying something. I'm like, okay, honey, we got to
do something.
Saying it forever.
Let me. Yeah, I'm gonna get your beef picture up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna show.
$2,000 on the beef.
I'm gonna show everybody your picture, your beef. Here you go, Adam.
Oh my
Check
God.
this out. Look at this. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yikes.
My cousin. So,
Now, so you buy the whole cow and you cut it yourself, or you got a picture of the.
Another buddy from of mine, we were gonna cut and wrap it ourselves and whatnot because I went down to Oregon, Sharon and I, and bought a meat bandsaw. And it's one of my buddies that's a heavy duty hunter. He gets elk every year. He's got 5 kids, and so they got a couple elk every year, 4 or 5 deer, and they still buy more meat. And he's like, yeah, I'll take a beef too and everything. I'm like, do you need more meat too? He said, oh yeah, geez, we go through like crazy. I'm like, all right. And
so how do you store all this now? Do you freeze it?
Yeah, I have 4 test freezers. So
I see.
Yeah, I am two upright freezers. So yeah, 6 freezers. And so
do you vacuum pack them before you freeze them?
No, I just wrap them.
Really?
Yeah, I'll go through figuring out how much we ate here this last year here. That's why I'm buying 2 beef, and so we'll go through 1 full beef every 6 months.
Wow.
So,
that's crazy. Grass fed, huh?
Yeah.
Grass fed.
Grass fed, grass finished, grass, yeah. And I couldn't believe it. One of my other investor buddies over in Idaho, he moved from Seattle. He got out of Seattle and he moved over there, and he's raising 6 cows a year. And so I talked to him. Oh yeah, I got cows. So you do grass finish? Oh no. They do 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of grain to grain them out.
Wow, that's crazy.
And talk about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of, nasty poison,
Right.
just to fatten them up so they can get a couple extra dollars. And when I did that, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was that bad and everything. But we've done all organic, forever and everything.
Yeah.
But you got the money, spend it and everything. And but yeah, so.
Sean, I was at Dr. Nutley's house not long ago and for dinner, and he served us some beef, and I'm kind of looking for the name. You probably know it. It was like awikasha. Do you know what, Adam? Does that ring a bell? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Not
Sean,
familiar
is
with
that-
that name.
No,
Anyway,
no.
I think it's the word they use for any beef from Japan, and then the famous
Kobe beef.
the
And that's
Kobe. The Kobe is
the
just
Wagyu beef.
no.
That's the Wagyu beef from Japan or whatever. That's
Well, they got
really
Kobe
expensive.
and then they got Wagyu, but then there's another.
Another one.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Wow. So here's the way it works, which I did my research. Akaushi, Akashi beef,
Gosh.
and that's a name that they give to all beef from Japan, right? Because they do this special way, and they meditate with them and massage them, and they do all kinds of crazy things. So then the Wagyu or the Kobe, these are just subcategories of beef that is different from the Akashi. Anyway, to end the story, this was the best piece of beef ever in my
Right.
lifetime. I took it home, and I even emailed him and said, "What was that beef?" And it's very special kind of stuff and really expensive. And people only have 1 or 2 cows, and the whole thing. But anyway,
Right. Nice.
so
Well,
when you get rich, so when you get more rich and famous than you are,
gosh,
buy an Akashi beef. Yeah, get one.
Akashi beef. Well, Sharon's recipe for her, when we did the carnival, doing the stick of butter a day and whatnot. So take this. I mean, anybody can do this. I told her you need to patent this little mixture going on top of, your beef. Take a stick of butter.
Yeah.
I don't know, 15, 20 garlic cloves,
Whoa.
and mash them, whatever.
Right.
And I don't know if this is like a 6-ounce thing of blue cheese,
Blue cheese.
little cup. Put it in a pan, mix it all up in there. You don't have to put it in, man. You can just do it cold too, but
Right.
we've made it simpler now. And then just put it in the fridge and everything. And then when you get your steak, after you're done cooking it, put 4 tablespoons, as much as you want. I mean, every bite I take with that, and put that on top of your steak. Oh my goodness!
It's really good, huh? Okay. Blue cheese, garlic, and butter. It sounds pretty good.
That's it, and it is the best of the. I've never been a blue cheese fan, and I'm not a cheesy guy, but Sharon loves cheese, and so that was her mixture. And like, holy smokes! Talk about every bite it's like, I don't know, dipping your shrimp in butter or whatever.
Well, Sean, thanks for showing your beef
yeah.
picture. That's great. I'm glad you guys are cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
I want one of those big cows too, man.
The Kobe beef, they actually feed beer. It's one
Do
of the
they feed
things
a beer
they
to
feed
it? Yeah.
Probably rice beer, which is in the United States. Remember, is Pearl Brewery still in action, or did they go out of
I
business?
think Pearl was in New Orleans last time I checked, wasn't it? Pearl?
Because they
Pearl
were in San Antonio at one point, and they
Oh,
had
no,
a rice beer.
You're right. No, it's San Antonio. Pearl. There's another beer in New Orleans. San Antonio is Pearl beer. I think they're probably still around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rice beer, unless they've changed now. Who knows?
Then I think that then they sell this Wagyu, very expensive. I've never had that one, but this Akashi, man, if you ever find this somewhere, Akaushi, I mean, maybe it was just because Dr. Nunley gave it to me, because I love him. You know what I mean?
You will probably get, I bet you're going to get an email from a friend of mine who's Japanese, who knows a lot about Kobe and different type of Japanese.
Yeah, have him
he's an
email me.
expert. Good friend of mine. that will you'll probably get an email because he listens to your shows regularly.
Akashi, Akaushi.
Yeah,
It's an
he will
amazing-
know.
He will know. Yeah, it's funny. They do some wild things to like the Wagyu and the Kobe. I think they pray over them. They do all
I think
kinds of
they
stuff.
do something like that.
Well, which is cool, huh? Well, kid,
My
we got to
friend will
go.
know. He
here.
also wrote a book called "When to Eat What." By the way,
He has a book called When to Eat What?
yeah, which has a lot of quotes for me in it. He's a good friend of mine. Was a former roommate of mine, and a Dono initiate, and good buddy.
And his name?
Elliot Yamamoto.
Oh, man, he's from Japan.
He is. Actually, he's from Hawaii. He was born in Hawaii, and he knows. He is he's a storehouse of information. I've learned a lot of things about noni and about different types of foods and fishing. He is an expert fisher. He can catch fish where no one catches fish, et cetera, et cetera. Interesting guy.
Where does he live? Where does he live?
He's now living, God, I think he's still in Arizona now. He's moving around a lot now, but he's lived a long time in Flagstaff, in Sedona, in Prescott, in Tucson with me when I was a roommate with him. And of course, he first lived in Kauai. So before I went up there, I had a different connection. Then I found out that his parents had landed in Kauai, and he was raised there. And I met both of his parents, wonderful people. And Kauai is one of my favorite places.
Me
in the
too.
whole
I was
world.
just about to say that's probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been on this earth plane. Is Kauai, Hawaii, folks. If you ever get a chance to go, just go, and you don't need anything but flip-flops and shorts, and that's it. And it doesn't change, and it rains every day. There's so many flowers there. Amazing.
The flower Rainbow Island, they call it, because there's rainbows every day and
Every
waterfalls all over the place.
Waterfalls everywhere. I think it's where they shot a good portion of Jurassic Park there, didn't they?
They
Up
did,
there on the North
and they
Shore?
got caught in the hurricane.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
Scared the heck out of Steven Spielberg. They did the James Bond helicopter scene in Kauai too. Lots of movies have been. Elvis has been there. Nicolas Cage, etc.
If I could sneak Doodle in there, because they're total vax Nazis in Hawaii, you can't bring. You're not supposed to. I say you can't. There's always a way. Smuggle them in, but you to bring a dog in Hawaii, you don't want to. You don't even think about it. But if I could smuggle Doodle in there, I'd live in Kauai in a heartbeat, and you wouldn't have to go anywhere else, man. Just write your screenplays, write your screenplays, and watch the rainbows.
Lots of rainbows. Yeah, I spent probably over 6 months there,
Did
on
you?
and off. So I made about 5-6 trips there, thanks to a good friend of mine. Financed him. He's
Beautiful.
a prosperity guy. He definitely can live it. So he rubbed off on me by treating me to most of those trips.
Our listeners and viewers on BitChute and audio, if you ever, just do yourself a favor, save the money, and just take your significant other to Kauai, even for a week. Yeah, okay. You'll be good, right? You'll be good.
If you don't take your honeymoon in Dripping Springs, then go to Kauai.
Then go to Kauai. Just go to Kauai. All right, Adam, we love you. Thanks for everything. What a great show. I've been taking notes. This got so much stuff. I don't know how we're going to even get it on the note page. Okay, Adam, tell them about your thing, how you support yourself. Give yourself a plug here before we go.
SolarTiming.com. That's where all the books are. And we have a $99 all the time, as long as I'm alive and probably beyond, where it's $99 with blogs and times of day, foods and herbs and everything, and how to calculate the time and lots of other information on it. And meanwhile, we sell our books up to about 40 or 50 now, journals, on everything from mind over matter to sex to colon to you name it. check the site out, and you'll see quite a variety. I advertise a lot on Facebook, too. So you can find me on Facebook. We're on there a lot.
I know you. I see you. Yeah, I see you.
I see you too.
On the feed.
When you're not being kicked off.
Yeah, well, when I'm not in Facebook jail, which is all the... I'm still in Facebook jail.
A little bit. There's a couple of words you have to be careful of.
I know. Boy, you don't want to do the global warming, Green New Deal. That'll get you. Vaccines. That'll get you in
right
jail.
Quickly.
I'm not really in jail right now, but I am way down on the feed. I don't know how that works, but that's where they have me now, where less people see you. You know, they try to just, get your goat any way they can. You know what I mean?
They do. I think I'm in a partial bubble too.
You're in a partial bubble.
I say too many things about the medical police state.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get me kicked off, but it might be doing other things. But I avoid the V word, and I avoid anything with climate in it.
Oh, yeah.
Or anything with white. Surprisingly, the word white, even if you say something good about black or white, you get in trouble with the bots.
Yeah, the bots catch you. You know, that's funny. You can actually publish a story that is really against this whole climate change, or for it, climate change thing. But the bots just eat you when you say climate change. You know, they don't want any, these people are, they're psychopaths. They're Nazis. They don't want anybody talking about this stuff. Just them, just them.
They are. That's how they control the news. They don't let you see it. That's their main strategy.
That's right.
If you don't see it, out of sight, out of mind.
You can't see this. No, you can't see this. Oh, God. Well, you guys have fun. I love you, Guy. I love to Vibrant Gal. It's always fun having you here. Adam's on the first Monday and the third Wednesday that we call Adam 2.0. Take care of yourself.
And support Patrick. You've got the greatest archive. So it's unbelievable archives. Use the search function.
Thanks.
Love you, Patrick.
Love you too, brother. Take care. Adam Bergstrom, yes, no, maybe, Chronobiotic Nutrition. SolarTiming.com is what you want, because that's where all the good stuff is. SolarTiming.com. And, buy a few of these ebooks and kind of dive into some things like you would never even think. I mean, why not do it? Mind hacking for the millions? Butterflies need no taxidermist. That's his all-timer. Okay, we are going to join you tomorrow, and we're going to talk about some aspects of soul, mind, body, my favorite subjects that nobody really talks about in the way that we do. And that's why we choose to come on now and then and do it, because if nobody else is going to talk about it, we are going to talk about it. We have been very blessed to download information about how this whole reality works. I don't know. I don't know how it just comes in. I kind of know how it works. I can even talk about that tomorrow. Not that I'm that smart. No. I don't claim. Not that I'm spiritually evolved. No, I don't claim that. All I know is my great desire to know what the truth is. Spirit says, yeah, you want to see something here? Check this out. And you download it. So the reason I tell you this, not to convince you that I'm so cool, which I'm not. I'm a nice guy, but I'm a nice guy, But if you have a deep desire to know anything, I don't care what it is, chess, fishing, whatever, and you really want to know about it, you just start asking God, dear Big G, I want to become an expert at crawfishing, or whatever it is. Doesn't matter. It's all there. That information is there, not on the internet. No. It's there in the ethers, in the collective unconscious. It's there from lifetimes of people who have gone crawfishing or played chess. It's just there. And when we ask, and we really want to know, seriously, and put some energy into it, maybe start buying books, you really get the juices flowing. And here's the most important point. You have to think about it. because that's how we manifest everything, by what we think. So if you just say, "Dear God, I want to learn how to play chess like the greatest chess player ever," and you ask, and you go to sleep, and you don't ever do anything else about chess, but you think God's going to download it all, no. No. There's a saying that my teacher told me one time, lots of times, that when we give 110%, God kicks in the rest. Not 100. But when we give 110% to learn something or to do something, then that's when God kicks in the rest. That's how it works. Because we are not on the welfare system. God is not a communist, woke, lefty welfare. Just the opposite. That's why these people are so dangerous. Because they don't get it. They don't understand creation. They don't understand personal responsibility. They don't understand they have to work for what you get. They don't understand any of that. They think government should just give you stuff because you need to be on your phone. So people are dangerous. And they want to program your kid to do the same thing. So turn off your TV, unplug it, throw it out. Be very careful what you watch on the internet or where you go. And be careful what movies you go see, too, because Hollywood is infested with these people. They run in the whole show there. I love you all. Thank you very much. May the blessings be. See you tomorrow.
Broadcasting from the beautiful Hill Country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com.